I usually don't read Bible scriptures. It's not that I have anything against it. I just, I've mentioned this in the past, but I come from, even my religious upbringing, it was very humble. You know, we weren't the type that would talk about stuff like this out in public a whole lot. You know, I mean, of course you did it at the church, you know, talk about the Bible and all this, but we were just, you know, we didn't believe in dancing or music in the church or any of this other stuff. You know, this is kind of strict, I guess. And people that would put their hands up, you know, we'd have visitors, people would come into the church and they'd start putting their hands up in the air, you know, and going, ah, la ga ba la ga la ga ga ga, you know, speaking in tongues. Some of them, you know, God la ga gu la ga ba ga blah, but you doing all that. And man, that would freak people out in my church. It would freak people out. And it freaked me out. As years went on, I started exploring a bunch of different denominations as an adult and got caught up in a couple of them, not for long, but for a little bit, that were into the speaking in tongues, and I'd never done it, and they kept trying to lead me into it. And then I literally faked it one time just to make them leave me alone. I was like, you know, and then after a little bit, they left me alone, which was good. So, and no offense, really, seriously, like if there's people out there who do that, that's part of your thing. And I guess I don't get into this with, you know, arguing against it or for it or whatever. It's not for me. I never felt right with it, but I've always been that way with the way I was raised with my religion and everything. So I struggle sometimes. I'm not very evangelical, but I all the gifts I have, these are all gifts from the Holy Spirit. I know where they come from, and this comes through Jesus. It comes through my relationship with the Supreme Being, the Almighty. That's where all that comes from. But as I always say, it's not about your religion, it's about your relationship. You know, you can get there on your own, as long, well, not on your own, you have to have Jesus, but you can get there by yourself. You don't need to have a third party involved in your relationship with God, which has always been my problem with religion. But with all that being said, let me welcome you to Catching Up with KJ. This is episode number 11. There's a lot of stuff we're going to talk about tonight. And of course, I'm always open to your questions. I love seeing your questions and interacting with you. Tonight, I'd like to try something a little different. If you have a question, please just write the word question first and then get into the question. It'll help me to get to most of you a little bit easier, and that'd be cool because I'm not able to get to everybody every week. But with all of that being said, I thought I was going to start off with a Bible verse. Anyway, here's Philippians 4:8. I always like this one just personally, but it says, finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good rapport, if there be any virtue, and if there be any praise, think on these things. Things like that help me because one of my particular gifts, of course, is delving into the darker elements of this reality. And this is the kind of thing I do, is expose the darkness. You know, I feel like I'm a watchman, I guess, is what they would call us, you know, to a degree. But so I've always battled with my distaste for religion and dogma and things like this, but then my real relationship with God and Jesus Christ and how important that is. And I also struggle with my upbringing, with how I was taught to be very humble about this stuff and to pray in public, not to pray in public, but, you know, to pray in private and have that private relationship. You don't need to run through the streets and go, you know, or whatever, you know, whatever you do, that's fine. But I was raised to believe we keep that on the cool, you know, and I still do that. Even though I'm not a part of any religions, I still feel that way. My relationship's very real with God and Jesus. But even I feel kind of strange sometimes talking about it. But then if I make a few videos where I don't mention it, then I feel bad. I get convicted because I know I have to talk about it because that's the whole point. And what I want to say about that is, let's not fall in love with the knowledge. I've struggled with that one too. I love learning. I love reading about all this weird, wild stuff, fallen angels and the Book of Enoch, and that's just the beginning. But, you know, everything else, anything to do with aliens or monsters washing up on the beaches, you know, in different places, these hybrid creatures they're finding, and I mean, everything else in between. People walking around like clowns, you know, all over the place and peeping in windows and creeping people out. I mean, this is the stuff I'm just drawn to naturally. Not that I want to do it, of course, but this is stuff that I like to look into and investigate and try to find what's happening in my eyes and the way I see things in the spiritual. And that's the way I see it. You know, these are the eyes I have for these things. But I know I need to give more credit, of course, to God and to Jesus Christ, and I'm working on that. And I know I need to know my Bible better, and I'm working on that too. But I'm never going to be a preacher for you. That's not what I do. We'll talk about it here on the shows from time to time, but it's because I have different interpretations of things. I'm always learning. That's why I don't want to say, this is what this means to you, and then be wrong and then mislead you. One of my biggest fears of all this, all the research I've done, 8 years now, I've been doing this stuff. And all the years, one of my biggest fears is that I would ever make somebody stumble. That's it. And that's a tough one because, you know, I get into all kinds of stuff, paranormal, crazy stuff, weird stuff. And, you know, I've been taken for a ride sometimes. I've fallen for a few hoaxes here and there throughout the years and all that stuff at first. I removed the videos after, but so, you know, I'm human, right? But I genuinely don't want to mislead anybody with anything I look into or research. But anyway, let's take a look over here in the chat section and say hi to everybody, yeah? And hey, we got a nice crowd showing up. Hi, everybody. How you doing? Let's see what we got here. Okay, hey guys, nice. A lot of people are showing up. Somebody's already asking a question. That's in nomine Patris. Hi. Why did I change the avatar? It's a good question. So I changed my avatar. First time in 8 years. I guess that might be a big deal. I don't know. Why did I change it? Well, a few months back, and this isn't why I changed it, but a few months back, I'll just give you the full story here in short. But a few months, and in case you're just listening and don't know much about me and don't know my avatar, and this is YouTube talk. All right, this is YouTube talk. It's my avatar for my channel. But it was an avatar of a guy looking in a mirror, cutting his wrist, and behind him was the devil kind of guiding his hands to do it, okay? And I found that picture. It's from an artist, and his name's on the bottom of the picture if you were to ever look at it on my channel somewhere, and I can't remember his name, but it was like 8 years ago I found it when I first woke up to all this stuff, so it was much more of a horrific, frightening experience to me at the time as well. Also, I wanted to get people's attention, you know what I mean? Like, I knew what I had to do, and I knew it was going to be hardcore. And you know, I knew this isn't going to be a puppy dogs and ice cream channel. And I get a lot of that. I get very tender, hardcore Christians sometimes, you know, have a lot of dogma and they can't stand me. Especially not just the avatar as part of it, but everything else, you know. And I've had that in the past. So even then, I knew I'm not going to put a picture of a lamb up there with a halo over its head or something like that. I need to get something to get the people's attention because I knew I needed to fish for people. You know, if we're to be fishers of people, we have to show them images that they can relate to from the world. That's the way I looked at it all. I mean, I had this whole feeling about it, this whole thought, but that was the whole idea. So I did that. And I had it for 8 years, and it's still on my Facebook channel for the movie, which is, it's maxed out almost all the time. I'm sorry I can't get you guys in there. It's nice that people have it maxed out. I'll lose maybe one or two every few weeks, then I just add whoever's in line next. But on that one, I still have that image or whatever, but I removed it from here. So a few months back, I was dealing with these troll attacks from, you know, we've talked about this, these subcultures of idiots. You know, there's a lot of them here on YouTube, and all they do is try to attack people and cast, you know, accusations on you or whatever. This one little group kept talking about my avatar. That's the first time I'd ever heard anything about my avatar, that there's anything going on with it. I didn't even think it was a thing. And then all of a sudden I see these people, hey, he's trying to get people to kill themselves. You know, weirdos, man, weirdos. Had all these crazy, kooky ideas, but all these people were focusing on the avatar, you know, and how evil I am, and I'm promoting the devil and all this, which totally isn't me. So I saw that, and immediately I'm like, well, screw you. I'm keeping it now forever for sure. And that's just a part of my personality. You know, I don't like to bow down to anybody. I don't cower down to someone's demands, especially if they're being jerks, you know, so I kind of was like that about it. So then I blew it off, no big deal. Now, I also, around that time, started my Catching Up with KJs. And when you watch one of the Catching Up with KJs, what do you see? You see my avatar. It's front and center screen, and it's there for like typically around 2 hours. So, you know, I started getting a lot of messages about this because I guess for the first time, people really had to focus on it, you know, and even myself looking at it for a while, you know, I don't like looking at it for long. I mean, I get it. You know, I put it up there for a reason, to shock and to get people's attention and things like this. But even for me, it's like, I don't like looking at it for long, you know, so I started having to deal with that at the same time. I'm like, I don't want to look at this all the time, you know. So there's that. But then I started getting messages from other people. Now, again, a lot of these people are trolls. You know, a lot of people are going to just look for a reason to come at you, and they're going to just use whatever. You're doing this to promote Satan, or you're trying to make me kill myself, you know, things like this or whatever. And I check all these channels, and it's funny. A lot of them you'll check, hey, they joined YouTube yesterday. You know, the only person they've talked to is me. Weird. Scratching my head, you know, but you know, there's a lot of that stupid stuff that happens, and I get that. I just block these people, But then I started getting a lot of messages from people that were real, you know, people that I could tell were real people. And some people had been subs of mine even for a while, and they started thinking about it because other people were mentioning it here and there. But I got some nice messages from some nice people, and they're talking about it and just saying, you know, when I listen to you, you don't sound like that image. You're nothing like that image. It's, you know, and a lot of these people want to share it with some of their other Christian friends. Now that's where it got kind of weird for me, because again, I'm not a preacher or anything over here, you know, and part of the reason of me putting such a shocking image up at first was to scare off a lot of those, you know, religious people, really, really religious people. I made videos on KJ about this. I made a video called Religitards. I know that's not a nice word, but it's true. Or Pharisees, a lot of modern day Pharisees. There's people I've known when I was a kid growing up in church. Most of the people in our church were beautiful, wonderful people, seriously. But there's a few you find throughout the years. Throughout the years, I went to different churches. But man, there's always that one old person, that one bitter, angry old person that just sits at home alone the whole time. And they're angry. A lot of old people I know are happy and content. But there's always that one angry, bitter old person at home that can quote you every bit of the Bible, any word. They can quote you anything from the Bible. You just ask. But these are some of the most miserable people you'll ever meet in your life, you know, so there's that. So knowing your Bible never mattered that much to me when I would hear that from people or religious type people or whatever. The devil knows the Bible. The demons know the Bible. You know, they know every word in there too. So I'm not impressed by that. I'm impressed by the way people are, you know, by the kind of human beings they are. So if they're really trying to follow the ways of Jesus, you know, if they're really trying that sincerely, because to me, that's what it's all about. And that's where we go into the whole finding that nugget of God within us, not that you are a God or anything, but God made us, right? And then Jesus is our example. So if you can follow Jesus, then to me, through that example, you can get closer to God. You see what I'm saying? That's kind of the way I've always seen that. But a lot of, quote, Christians don't do that. And a lot of them are a real pain, and a lot of them I didn't want around. You know, I left religion a very long time ago for a reason. I knew that image would scare the crap out of a lot of them, so that was kind of part of it too. All right. But anyway, the channel's gotten a lot bigger, which I appreciate all of you out there. It's getting a lot more subs and all that, and we're growing, and we're getting a bigger audience. And so I understand some of these people, you know, we're getting some of the more religious people. They want to share some of this with some of their Christian friends who are still lost. That's the thing, because a lot of, well, look, if you have Jesus, to me, you're okay. But I'm saying a lot of these Christians are still lost in what's happening in the world. They don't understand how far along we are. They don't understand what's really going on. They're still watching a lot of this media, taking it in, you know, favorite actors, or, you know, having favorite actors, having favorite musicians, eating GMOs. I mean, seriously, there's a lot of people, and religions, they open to the masses. Yeah. So there's a lot of really lost people that think they know Jesus and stuff like this. And a lot of them don't. That's the other thing too. They go to church every Sunday. Sure. They do their time for an hour and they're done, you know, but how many of them really walk with Jesus? How many of them really know God, you know? It's a long answer to why I changed the avatar, but I figured I'd go ahead and switch it up a little bit for now and just kind of see how it flows. You know, I can always bring it back in the future, but I figured I'd just do that for now. You know, the channel's getting big, which is, again, it's always been growing, and I appreciate it, but, you know, it's getting a lot of reach there. Maybe I need to reach out to some more of these type of people. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not sure, but I just prayed about it and I felt like, okay, let's do it. And I think the image I chose was cool. It definitely still has the feel I want. It's mysterious. It's a little interesting. It draws you in, and you know, I think it's cool. So I think it's very much a good representation of what my channel is all about. So thanks for the question. Let's see what else we got down here. Question by MK Supreme. Hi, MK. Are truth YouTubers going to be attacked for exposing the truth? I saw that even the mainstream media is backstabbing people talking about hoaxes and false flags. Yeah, MK Supreme for sure. I mentioned it, I think maybe last week I talked about it a little bit, but what's going to be really weird, you know, a lot of us make these videos out here about things to come, about the Antichrist and things like this, right? It's all, at this point, for a lot of us, it's just kind of speculation, it seems. What do you think it's going to be like when all this stuff hits reality? What do you think it's going to be like when all this stuff starts happening right before our very eyes? It's stuff that not just me, there's a lot of us out here. There's a lot of us out here, a lot of watchmen and watchwomen out there have been putting things out there and reporting things and making videos, talking about dreams, even visions, all this stuff. You know, a lot of people have been putting this stuff out there. What do you think is going to happen when the Antichrist really arrives on the scene? And there's a bunch of us here on YouTube. Hi. Yeah, we've been making videos about you coming for, 2, 3, 4 years now. You know what I mean? What do you think is going to happen? It's going to be a whole new ball game. It's going to be interesting. I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but this is part of the reason I'm really working hard right now to get my website up and running so I can save my videos. YouTube, speaking of all this, removed 2 more of my videos just this week. They took down my video about horns, the Daniel Radcliffe movie Horns, how the opening sequence is it's a complete ritual for Lucifer, and there's tons of symbolism and all this other stuff. I thought it was one of the most interesting finds I've seen in a while when it comes to symbolism in the movie. It's so interesting and obvious. They have the V in there, they have everything, all the obvious stuff, the floor, the Masonic floor, the pyramid with the sun. I mean, it's all in there. And that was a music type video I did. So they yanked that, and they also yanked my Julian Assange deal with the Illuminati video. So, I've got to get this website up and running. Luckily, I've got most of these things saved on my computers, so that's good. But yeah, so I've got to get that going, because they'll take, for me at this point, at least once every 2 weeks up to a month. At this point, they'll remove a video of mine worldwide. That's what's been happening. Somebody was commenting about my newest video being my 333rd, and now you can go look, it's my 332nd, because I just had to remove, or they removed that video of mine just 2 days ago. So the last one, which was the horns video. The other one was a while back, about a week, or just around a week ago is when they removed the other one. So that's what happens, and it sucks, but what can you do, man? I guess it's part of the game. But yeah, man, I'm sure they're going to be attacking us. I mean, we all get attacked already, of course, by certain numbers of people, in different kinds, atheists, agnostics, your typical 12-year-olds, who this stuff scares, really religious people sometimes will attack a lot of this stuff and some of this, and you get all kinds. I mean, you get attacks all the time, depending on every video you're going to get attacked by somebody. That's just the way it is at this point. But it's really going to get crazy when the fit hits the shan. When whatever this thing is shows up on the scene, and if the world really does fall in love with it, which at that time it probably will. We keep seeing these signs of collapse and all this other stuff, right? And I think that has to come first, obviously. I mean, most of us know a lot of this stuff from Revelation, but because the world's going to be needing a hero. It's going to be pretty rough, and that's when this thing is going to appear, show up on the scene, and the world's gonna fall for it. A lot of people are going to fall for this. Even a lot of people who are listening, even right now, maybe, people who think they're Christians or call themselves Christians, they think they're cool, they're good to go. A lot of you are probably going to fall for this. I can't point fingers. I don't know for sure, but it's going to be a massive deception. It's going to be crazy. This is going to be the most ultimate test ever on your faith. Do you really believe in God? Do you really believe in Jesus? Do you really believe in all this? We're going to see. We're going to see. And that's going to be the test. So there's that. MK Supreme, good to see you. Hi, CB is me. How you doing, strong man? Hi. Good to see you. And hi, Nate. Okay, and people are asking where I'm at. Yeah, I'm in Central America. I've got a little story about that, actually, Costa Rica. And actually, yeah, and it is above Panama. I think I mentioned this last week, and I was going to talk about this throughout the night a little bit about my trip to Panama. I had to go to Panama this week. I was there for 3 days and just got back yesterday, actually, in the afternoon. And I had to jump the border so I could get my passport stamped. And I had to be there for 3 days, and that's all part of the process here. If you're not, if you don't actually belong here. You got to do that to stay legal. You can go illegal, but that can get you in a lot of trouble. Just like, well, I was going to say in America, but to some degree in America still, if you're illegal and get caught, you can get deported, but they'll deport you out here pretty quick. So that was all part of it. But I had a lot to tell you about that. That's just kind of a fallback. We'll get into that in a little bit because that was really interesting. Really interesting. I had, like I said, I had a couple interesting experiences. I'll tell you about that in a sec here. Hey, Mary, how you doing? Good to see you. Hey, Risto, how are you? Just saying hi to everybody here real quick. X-God-O, how are you? Jay and Silent Bob says, hey, KJ, you know about the trumpets, right? If you're talking about all the strange sounds, yeah, I've done some videos on those before. A lot of people are saying that that's part of the symbolism with Donald Trump, that he's the last Trump for America. Not that he's going to be any good. I certainly don't trust him. Since I was in Panama, I'm shy on videos right now, but there's 3 I'm working on, and one of them has to do with Donald Trump, actually. So all these people keep putting their faith in Donald Trump. I'm just shaking my head. Guys, this guy's like a multi-billionaire. He's doing all this stuff out of narcissistic need, I'm sure. It feels good to do this and just say what you want to say, because if anybody knows that this whole world's a stage, he does. And all these people think that he's going to be your savior. Man, still got a lot of lessons to go. A lot of us, it seems. Hey, Martin Mason, good to see you. Yeah, Donald Trump's not going to save you. Donald Trump's not going to save America. It's all part of the show. And I'm going to do a video, like I said, on that to show you a few things. Other people have covered some other things with him as well. Jovan Trendmaker, good to see you, man. I didn't get to see you here very often. Hi, Harold, how are you? And Big-Headed Martian, hi. Here's Vegan Guy. Hi KJ, I love your channel, thanks, and have spread your message to a lot of people. I was wondering if you could touch on the deep web maybe, and have you seen Face Like the Sun's video on September events? I've got some stuff to talk about with September events. I haven't seen his video, and on the deep web I'm going to research that pretty soon, because that is one of the subjects. That and RH blood types are 2 subjects a lot of you have asked me about, so I'm going to start researching those this week. And I'll either do videos on those, or I'll have a lot to talk about next week about that. It's another thing I want to say too, is if you have questions, and if you missed the show, if you're just listening to this after I uploaded it, or even if you have questions here and I can't get to you for whatever reason, I miss you guys sometimes on here. It's a weird system, the way the comments catch up and flow and all this over here, and sometimes we get a lot of comments. So I don't get to everybody, unfortunately, but if that happened, please feel free to leave your question underneath the video now, like once it's uploaded. And then I'm going to start reading these throughout the week and doing a little research, and I'll have answers for you the next week, and we'll kind of mix it up like that, okay? So that might be kind of cool. Let's see here. Let's move on down. Richard Annis and Ciso. Hi. Well, thanks for listening, man. Good to see you. And let's see what else we got here. Good to see you, Phoenix Cat. How are you? Hey, Jovan says, what do you think about Fukushima? Man, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, there's obviously some kind of a complete and total blackout on it as far as the media goes. We just never, ever hear anything about it. And there's a guy named Dana Dunford, I guess, that was doing a lot of work on there. But all of a sudden, I started seeing all this stuff where people were saying he was a shill and a liar, and I guess he's taking footage out there on the coast saying everything's dead. There's no animals out here, and all the sea life is dying and all that. And there was some big drama there. There's, like I said, that's another one of those weird YouTube battles I saw going on, but a lot of people are saying he was fibbing and just trying to get money. So I don't know, man. And I really haven't looked too much into it. I just don't know much about Fukushima. I mean, it's been totally silent, right? I mean, where do you get information on this? I don't know. I don't know where we find information on that. I'm sure there's people out there talking about it. And if there is, please give us some links below or whatever, or tell us where to go, because I guess I should look more into that. So that'll be one of those I'll try to look into this week and see if I can't find something solid on there. But I haven't been led towards it. I don't know. That's kind of the way I work. But thanks for asking. Let's see what else we got here. Still moving down here. Hi, Ned Dead 41. Question, KJ, have you seen this Audi video? I haven't seen the Audi video. What's in that? AUDI. It's the car commercial, I'm sure, car video. What's in there? What kind of symbolism? I'm not sure. Hey, Attil 7779. Good to see you. This is A. Donald by another name. Question: did you see the article regarding the papyrus, sorry, that says Jesus was married to Mary Magdalene? What are your thoughts? Well, you've probably heard of the Book of Mary and some of this. I mean, I've already looked into some of that stuff in the past, and I'll just tell you the way I feel about it when I see stuff like that. But I feel like it's stuff that I shouldn't be looking at, that it's not real. This is how I feel about it. Okay. I don't feel like it's something I need to explore. I feel like some of it's deception. I'm very innocent almost with my relationship with Jesus and God. I really am. I'm almost like a child with it, and I just look at it very innocently. And I don't know. I see a lot of this stuff come out, Jesus was really doing this. Hey, Jesus was doing that. Nah, Jesus, and all this stuff that makes Jesus seem like he really wasn't that great. I see a lot of that stuff that he was doing this on the sly, or he did that or that. Bill Donahue, I think, talks about some of that stuff, that he was married to Mary Magdalene as well. You can look up Bill Donahue. He's more of an astrotheologist, I guess, a bit of a Christian as well, but he's very different. I don't sign off on everything I've heard from him. Some of it's very interesting. It'll make you think, but some people aren't spiritually strong enough, honestly, to go Bill Donahue or some of these other people. You got to really know yourself. You got to know your relationship with God, have your faith, and have that anchor there to explore some of the stuff and extract truth, because a lot of the stuff will really make you think. But that's my thoughts on it, man. I haven't gone too deep into looking into all the stuff with Jesus being married and all that, and to Mary and whatever else. I always feel dirty about stuff like that. That's just my feeling. I'm like, this isn't stuff I don't see how it's going to help me. I don't see how it's going to make me feel any closer to Jesus to know stuff like that, even if it was true. I just don't know. I don't see the benefit of me knowing that stuff, and I'm not interested in it. I guess that's the way I see that. When I think of Jesus, I just think of purity and everything. And I know, KJ, you're a innocent retard, or you're dumb or whatever, whatever. But I have to stay very innocent with things like that. I don't know. Not that would shake my faith. I've explored everything you can imagine, as far as looking into stuff and researching. And I've kind of looked into that stuff too. But like I said, I don't see how it. I don't know. It didn't resonate with me. It's not something I feel that's. I don't know. I just don't feel like it's important. What if? What if he was? I don't know. How would that change things? I don't know. But. So yeah, sorry I don't have more of a solid answer. I'm just trying to be real with you, man. That's just kind of how I feel about that. KJ, or Strongman, says, do you stick to the King James Bible? I found out about the new versions of the Bible. Have you heard about them? Yeah, I've heard about all these new versions. Man, I just have always stuck with, ever since I was a kid, I've always just looked at the King James, and I use a Hebrew concordance. So I can break down the Hebrew meaning behind these words. That's the way I've always done that. And let's see. Hi, Mary. Thanks. Thanks for checking that out. Jay and Silent Bob, when will the 4 horsemen arrive? I don't know. We got our eyes in the sky. Did you see the videos I did a while back? There have been 2 different sightings of a weird-looking black horse flying through the sky around the world. I did a video on that on my KJ channel. And aside from that, plenty of other signs. They just did a thing. It was in the news. They show us this stuff all the time. The world really is a matrix. You're watching this news and movies and TV shows and all that stuff, and it's literally telling you truths about your own reality. It's crazy. And I know a lot of people don't see that, but that's the way I see it all. But a few weeks ago, they did a thing where they were talking about how they had projected this huge green horse galloping on clouds, huge, enormous, galloping up in the sky on clouds. They do little things like this, it's interesting, just more of these kind of interesting signs. And even in those videos I did about the horses, there have been other sightings of these horses. There was one in Egypt, a lot of you may have seen several years ago. It looked like a green horse, a man riding a green horse through some kind of a riot. It was interesting. So, but when are they going to arrive? Or when are they going to arrive? Heck, I don't know, man. I keep my eyes up to the sky, though, but at the same time, remembering to live my life moment by moment, and not in fear, and not just, like, I hate this rock, get me off. Come on, Jesus, hurry up. Snap to it. I don't want to have that attitude either, because, we still have work to do here, even in our own real lives. And that goes back to my Panama trip we'll talk about here in a while. But There's still stuff to do. It's not just making videos on YouTube. It's not just chatting on YouTube and stuff like this. I mean, there's real life. There's real people around us. There's things to do. And I don't know what your missions are. This is where you really need to know Jesus. You really need to know God, and you need to know what your mission is, because we're building the kingdom, if you will, right now. Each and every one of us, really, we're supposed to be doing stuff like this right now, and I can't tell you what your job is. I don't know. God will tell you. God will lead you to that stuff, Let's see. Jovan, thanks, man. Hey, just because, how you doing? The Bible actually says to go pray in your closet bedchamber and not to go pray in the street so everyone can see how righteous you are. Love it. Yep. I didn't know that scripture either, but I've heard that. Thank you. And yes, big-headed Martian, our government absolutely has been hijacked by the fallen ones. That is for sure. It's all fallen angel deception. And crazy times we're in, Hey, Macy, thanks. I'm glad you like it. All right, I'm pulling back on some. I got to update the comments below, and it always jumps, like totally jumps, and then I'll miss a whole bunch. So I keep having to go back and just kind of rereading a little bit. So I appreciate your patience, everybody. And also, thanks again for showing up. Did I already say thank you? Chris Valesco finally made it. Good to see you, man. I'm glad you could make it. Thank you to all of you, because this is awesome. I don't do this out of some narcissistic need. I've talked about that before. In fact, I'm way behind on comments, questions, emails. A lot of that's because I had to take that trip this week, but I'm going to catch up with everybody. I do my best to stay in touch with you all and everything, because it genuinely is a community to me. This is, hey, I'm living in a country where there's only 2 people near me that speak my language, and I maybe see them, twice a month or something, and that's it. So, this is nice to have. I consider a lot of us friends. It's a community, and it's nice to talk to other like-minded people and just chill with each other. It's cool. And I try to keep that going after I make videos. Like I said, I got several videos coming up this week I got to finish up. But even there, I try to stay in touch on the comments, not just because, I'm not getting my ego fed. Like I said, there's a certain percentage of my comments that are trashing me, so it's not about that. But it just genuinely, it matters to me. It makes me feel good that so many of us are awake. I started this so long ago and felt alone, just like a lot of you did. A lot of you started off when you first woke up and was like, oh my gosh, nobody understands this. And you try to tell your family and they think you're crazy. You tell your girlfriends, you tell your boyfriends, you tell you whoever, and they all look at you like you're nuts. I've been there, and look how much we've grown. Really look how much we've grown, this community, if you will. We don't have it all figured out, but we got a lot of questions, right? And I think we got a lot of the right questions. So that's cool. It's good. All right, let's see what else we got here. Moving on down. Hey, Artemis Proxy, hi. Good to see you. Don't say that. Well, I don't know. They say I'm probably not going to get raptured. Well, I don't know, man. You would know better than I would. You got to have your own relationship with God. If you feel like there's something missing or whatever, you need to pray about it, look within, and you'll find the answers, and then you need to go do it. Whether it's reading your Bible more or whatever it is, you've got to do it, because this is the time to get this stuff figured out. We're still in a nice little grace period. You can still watch your favorite TV shows. You can still get money out of your ATMs. There's fast food right around the corner if you like. It's anything on the internet you want to find's on there. We're still living in things are cool, compared to the things we see coming, right? So it's good, but let's not get lazy. Let's make sure we use this time to get closer to God and to understand Jesus. And if you don't know Jesus, please do. To me, this is the key out of all this. I talked a little bit earlier at the very beginning of the show about not falling in love with the knowledge. This stuff's cool. It's interesting. It's cool to me. I love learning, and it's cool to find this stuff out. It's interesting to pick apart our reality and start finding out the truth of things around us. But I do think, oh my gosh, no way. Please State Radio. Sorry, I just got cut off there, man. Good to see you, Aaron. Thank you. I'm glad you showed up. Old friend of mine here. Haven't got to chat with you in a while. Angel White, good to see you. Hi there. Run to Christ. Good to see you too. Anyway, guys, like I was saying, man, just now's the time. Let's just get it, because, don't fall in love with the knowledge. Like I said, it don't matter how many, if you know about false flags, you know about hoaxes, you know about the Illuminati, the New World Order, the Bilderbergs, the Bohemian Grovers, you can know about all that stuff, man. But if you don't have Jesus in your life, if you don't have a relationship with the Almighty, rut row, Okay, rut-row. And I know I may kind of joke around about some of this stuff, but I'm not Alex Jones over here, and I don't beat my desk and rawr, rawr, you know. Maybe I should sometimes, I don't know, but I'm at peace. I'm at peace with what I see, with what's coming. I'm at peace with life. I'm at peace with my relationship with God and Jesus. Certainly there's things I have to straighten up in my own life here and there, but that's just being human. You know, we all work on this stuff, but that's the key, man. So, you know, I've seen a lot of people that just seem like they love the videos, and I appreciate you. They love learning this stuff, but then I'll see in their comments, I can tell they don't know God yet. They don't believe in God. They don't know Jesus. And that hurts me. It's a bummer, because that's what this stuff's all about. I know it may not seem like it. I know it may, you know, why do you talk about this and you don't preach and blah, you know, hey, I'm doing my job. I do what I got to do, and I'm reaching the people I got to reach. And a lot of you out there research things as well. You have your own way of doing things, and you're reaching people too. You know, it's cool. We're all a part of this awakening, but you got to know God, man. That's it, guys. We're about to see, I don't know when, but I'm feeling it. All the stuff I see, all the videos I make, the videos I see you guys making, the dreams you're all having, the visions you're having, the emails I get from people and talking about this stuff. I mean, we're living in that season. You know, I don't know exactly when things are going to go down. I don't know how bad it's going to be, but I know if you have God, I know if you have Jesus, you're going to have a way out. You're going to be safe. God's going to take care of you, even during those times. Because I even hate seeing these people like, fine, man, I'm just going to go get my head chopped off, man. I'm going to yank my kids with me. And or there's the other side. Oh, lock and load, baby. You know, bloodshed, here we go. I mean, guys, let's not lose our heads. You know, none of us know when, none of us know how it's going to look. None of us know any of this stuff yet. But have your personal relationships with God. Make sure you got Jesus Christ. Have that connection that's going to save you from your sins, which is great, because we're all sinners. I am too. None of us are perfect. The Freemasons believe in works get you to heaven. We don't believe in that, guys. We're the little lambs. We don't believe in that, okay? Jesus paid the price already. That's the way I see it. And there's a lot of you who don't agree with that, and that's all right, too. I'm still glad you're here listening, and hopefully you'll gain something out of all this. But so there's that. I go rambling again. Sometimes I do that. But let's scroll on down here and see what we got. And hey, at Atil7779, I love it in Costa Rica. They say, yep, it's awesome. Costa Rica is amazing. But it's also, man, it's a trip. Like I said, I don't really have anyone to talk to out here. I do have friends that I Skype with and talk to, though, in the States. And I have family I talk to on, you know, talking on the phone and things. So, I mean, I'm talking to people. But most of the time out here, it's just me and my cat, you know. Or I'm outside doing stuff in nature and things like that. Or I'm researching, or I'm reading. I'm reading a book right now about Nikola Tesla. I can't remember the name of it. It's an app I put on my tablet. So I actually got that for the trip, and it's absolutely fascinating. Maybe I'll do a video on Nikola Tesla when I'm done, because this guy so far is one of the most interesting real life stories I've ever read. Very interesting character, Nikola Tesla. And let's see, Kenley says narcissism will be the norm soon. Yep, it pretty much is already there. I mean, look at Facebook and selfies. You know, that's a reflection of the culture. And even sexting, you know, that's something that my generation missed, although most of them are doing it now. But you know, it started off, all this stuff, these trends start with the kids. You know, it starts with younger generations. But sending pictures of your privates to each other and stuff. I mean, it's like, whoa, you know, I mean, that's the thing, you know, a lot of people do that now, and it's just, and now you have apps, hookup apps, you know, you can just use, you know, upload an app, find people in your area that just want to hook up, and boom, there you go, you know. So, I mean, it's a total porn culture. It's a total narcissistic culture. It's not about love or building a relationship or getting to know this human being anymore. It's just about the bang, you know. That's kind of where we're at. It's a shame. It really is. It's a shame. And let's see here, Kung Fatty. Hey, thank you very much. And let's scroll on down here. All right, here's a just-in-time KG question. What do you make of all the strange symbolism tattoos on majority of Illuminati puppet pop stars? Gosh, I don't know. You know, a lot of it just reflects the same stuff they're doing with their hand signals, or the same stuff that's in their music videos, and it's all occultism. I mean, you can call it Satanism, but it's deeper than that, because I've covered a lot of that. You know, they get into a lot of the mystery religions, a lot of the mystery schools. Goddess worship is a real big part of this kind of stuff. I mean, it's Freemason stuff, you know, it's crazy. But yeah, I mean, the strange symbolism with the tattoos, sure, they're going to have a lot of the tattoos pushing forth these ideas. I mean, these people have sold out to that system, so they're representing it. They got to represent. So yeah, they're going to have all that stuff. It's just so obvious, right? I just did that video about the unusual history of Illuminati public rituals. And even there, when you go back in time and you work your way up to now, you can see the progression. You can see how it started off, just maybe an eye over here. You know, there's a little eye of Horus over there in the corner. Or maybe this person, you know, you got a lady in red coming out here in 1990, coming out here on the stage. You know, you got a couple little things here and there. And now we got full-on satanic rituals taking place at the Super Bowl halftime show, man. I mean, it's blatant. You know, it's completely in front of people's faces. But people are waking up, hopefully not too late. But there is, at the same time of all this stuff being revealed, there's a mass awakening taking place. It has to happen. But that's where I'm hoping a lot of us corral people who are waking up and bring them in, you know, because it's good to wake up to this nature of this wicked reality we're in right here. Only that we can get them on the path to know Jesus Christ and the path to know God the Father, because that's it, guys. That's why all this stuff's being revealed. This stuff was told to us in the Bible. We knew this was going to come, and now we're starting to see it. September starts this week. We're just weeks away from all this interesting stuff that may or may not happen in September. Well, some of these things are going to happen. There's the Shemitah and all these other things, the blood moons and all this other, the triad or triad. I can't remember if I said that right, but you know what I mean, guys. There's some things coming that will happen, but there's other things people are speculating on. Will there be a meteor, you know? Is there going to be a nuke attack? Is this World War III? Is this going to be when CERN triggers in to bring in the Antichrist spirit, you know, or whatever, into whatever being it may land on out here? Obama, the Pope. Will it be the fake alien invasion? Will that be when the Jesus figure comes out and that'll be the Antichrist? I mean, there's so many things, right? So many things to consider. Fascinating stuff and interesting. But yeah, so we'll see. We'll see. And let's see what else we got here. Just scrolling on down. There's a lot of you here. Thanks again, guys. Good to see y'all. I'm hoping I can get to all your questions. Jared Leto just purchased 8945 Wonderland. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Jared Leto does tons of that Illuminati symbolism. Tons. And just played a tranny in Dallas Buyers Club. So I think he won the award for that. So again, back to that transsexual agenda, and you can see him doing all the Illuminati symbolism in his videos and stuff like that. So he's just another tool, you know. Hey, Effie, how you doing? Good to see you. Scrolling on down here. Thanks. I'm glad you guys like it. Some of y'all are saying you like the picture. Hi, Mia. Good to see you. Hi, Tyranny News Network. Bible Code. Anything to it? Man, I meant to look that one up a little bit more because I saw somebody else asked about that earlier. I'll tell you what I'll do is I'm going to, because there's little bits I can throw you, but it's not enough because there's a lot of stuff for the Bible Code. Yitzhak Rabin, do you remember all the stuff that happened with Yitzhak Rabin in the Bible Code? If you people aren't, some of you aren't familiar with the Bible Code, this is from years ago, man. This was back in the early 90s when that was really popular, when I remember. But they were saying that, you know, there's, in the Bible, there's code in every page, basically, and you can ask it questions, and you can actually find answers, and it's really deep. I'll look deeper into it because I've seen a lot of people fighting against that, saying it's been debunked and this and that. But of course, people are going to say that, especially if it's real. So you can't just believe. If you find a subject and look up on Google and it says this was debunked, you can't. Okay, case closed, done. I mean, there's always going to be a counter argument. And a lot of times there's a shill on this side or a shill on that side. But I haven't looked into the Bible Code in a long time. But there were some accurate predictions that I remember from back in the day. That's years ago. So I'll revisit that Tyranny News Network, and we'll talk about that some next week. That'd be a good subject. Thank you, by the way. And let's see what we got here. Scrolling on down. And oh, and if you're just joining too, if you don't mind, if you can write the word question first and then actually ask the question, it'll make it a lot easier for me to get to you. I'd appreciate it. Hi, Dream Warrior. Good to see you. Hi, Robert Ball. How are you? He says, hey, KG, first time in chat. How are you? I've watched the others. Couldn't be a part of the chat. Hey, man, I'm good. You know, I went and got me some fresh peepas today. I got me some fresh coconut water. I got back from my trip from Panama this week, just yesterday. That was rough. I'm going to talk about that some tonight. It's a subject I think a lot of you can relate to. I just wasn't sure how I was going to go about it, because it's kind of casting somebody in a bad light. And I don't like talking necessarily bad about people, but at the same time, this is telling the truth. And this is the person I had to go with down to Panama. Okay, I had a situation a little bit there. But I'll get into that in just a little bit and see what you guys think about that. Let's go on down here with some questions. Hi, Phoenix Cat. Question: what do you think about all the false flag shootings that has been happening, all to take guns away or to cause racial divide between the races? You nailed it. I mean, right there. That's what I've said in my other videos as well. It really is it's an agenda to take away your guns, ultimately, and also to further divide us, to cause that race war that they've been working on for so long. And this new one that happened, this new shooting, you know, I don't do videos on a lot of those. You guys know I'll do like kind of big videos and just put a bunch of stuff in sometimes. That's how I do it. I won't cover each one of these individually because frankly, there's so many people on YouTube right now that do that are really good at it. So a lot of channels I watch that do this stuff, you know, and I'll kind of compare them to each other, and then I'll kind of go look at my own stuff. And most of the time, I don't need to make a video because most of the time these people are spot on. We got some amazing researchers out here. I mean, it's an exciting time for YouTube and this kind of community, honestly, because some people out there doing great work right now. But man, oh man, this newest shooting where allegedly the guy had shot the two people, the reporter and the cameraman. What scared me about that is it's so obviously a fake, and it's so obviously right in front of our face that they're really ramping this stuff up. It's like no longer is it just kind of this hidden shadow type stuff. Did it happen or did that happen or we're not sure. Now they're coming right out on camera and doing these things, you know, with the and showing this stuff, right? And to me, it's just completely a setup, okay? And there's plenty of people doing videos on this, but I agree with everything they said. Black Child is a YouTube channel here. They've always held a very special place in my heart. I got to tell you, just because we go back together real long back. Zendrius is another one. I'm always going to love Zendrius. You know, there's just some channels on here that I've been buds with for a long time on YouTube, and I respect their work. And I think we all kind of watch each other, and I think it's great. So that's a couple of my buds right there as far as I'm concerned. Even though I don't know the guys, but Black Child did a great video on that hoax. And the one thing that he showed, he was the first one that I saw that actually showed this. I know a lot of people are showing it now, but it's that timestamp of when the cameraman had supposedly caught the killer pointing the gun. It was like at 6 o'clock, and then they showed on the news, you know, when the shooting was going down, it was like 6:43 or something like that in the morning. So again, it's just like, oh my gosh. And the other part of it too is, here's what I would add if I was to make a video on it. I made a video on my KJ channel a few weeks ago. It's called How the Illuminati Leave Their Signature on False Flag Hoax Events. And in that video, I showed you a lot of different examples of just what we're talking about here, a lot of the stuff that's been going on, and how you can find their symbolism attached to a lot of these things. And I even said in that video, I'm like, you know, you watch, anytime one of these things come out and you start questioning it, start looking for the symbols, and typically you're going to find some. Sure enough, what do you think we find? So I'm looking through everyone's videos, then I start looking on the news channels, like I put it in Yahoo and Google, and I start seeing all the news feeds, and then I go look at all their stories. And one of the main pictures they're showing is a picture of the alleged killer, the big guy, right? He's kind of offset to the left, and the center screen is an enormous eye. And it can't really tell if it's the CBS logo faded somehow or whatever it is on the screen, but whatever it is, it's just the enormous eye is right there next to him. Typically, I need a confirmation, and I got it from my boy Amarashima 2012. Amarashima 2012 is another one of those guys that I've always liked. I've always considered him a friend here on YouTube. He's been my bud for a long time on here. Check him out if you guys don't know him. But Amarashima put up a video where sure enough, he shows a picture of, and this is on a mainstream news source, they show the girl, the reporter, sitting next to the camera guy, and her left eye is literally darkened out. Like it looked like she had a shiner, like she'd been punched in the eye. Not that she did, but her left eye was literally darkened out. And there was no purpose in the picture. She's smiling, and so was the guy, like, hey, you know, my eye's darked out. Yeah, nothing to see here, folks, nothing weird. But it was right there. And I'm like, man, there's my confirmation, you know? So thank you, Amarashima. But so again, and that's the way this beast system reveals itself as well, you know? And I hate to always say you can see it through the spiritual, because a lot of people use the spiritual in the wrong way, or, you know, it's, oh, I'm spiritual, man, you know, but they don't know God or Jesus or anything. I'm just spiritual, brah. But, you know, but this stuff does come through in the spiritual, you know, in the good and the bad, you know, the dark and the light. We can see all this stuff really manifesting. So I thought that was interesting. But yeah, man, they're just going to keep ramping him up. But what gives me hope is so many people are busting this stuff now. There's so many people putting videos out on it. I love it. And they're putting it out on, you know, they're tweeting it and all this and putting it out on Facebook. So this is a real battle, man. This is part of the war. I mean, you guys are involved in it. I'm involved in it in some levels as well. We all are. And we're literally seeing a war for truth take place right now. It's fascinating. It's absolutely fascinating. All right, let's see what we got here next. Hi, Sita Batia. I think I said that right. Says, hey, KJ, it's Bond here. I wanted to know how I should go about putting these UFO videos and pictures out. Would you mind taking a look and telling me what you think? You bet. Once I upload this video, once this show's done, if you could just remind me of that, and then I'll get in touch with you and give you an email or something. Or you can just try to private message me if you want to try that. Give me a link or something. That'd be cool. All right, so thanks. And just because, hey, how you doing? Artelect, where are you? No way, really? Cool. I can't say exactly where I'm at out here, but I'm in a really isolated spot. I'm by the beach, I'll say that. But it's way away from San Jose, you know. And I've thought about moving to San Jose, actually, just to be around some more expats, just so I can have some people to talk to. I mean, it's not that bad. I've lived in a lot of places, never overseas like this, and I can be alone for long periods of time, but I really like people, and I can, you know, I like to mix it up and have groups of people, and we'll see. We'll figure it out. But enough about me. Let's get back to the chat. Let's see here. Hi, Stephanie. It says Stephanie Wright is her name. It says, KJ, have you watched Hannibal, the TV show on NBC? This is the final season. The episode titles are very weird, so are things they say. It's all very interesting for the times we're in. Hey, I'll check it out. Haven't watched it in a while. I got real bummed out because I had up a really cool video for a while that was showing a lot of the satanic TV shows. It was a whole compilation. It took me forever to make it, but I showed all this crap they're doing, you know, not just one or two, but a bunch of these shows. They were pushing Satanism, and that's another one of my videos that YouTube removed. So it's like I hit that subject so hard, they took it away not long ago, and it's like, so I haven't really been looking into that kind of area again lately, but I need to. I know there's a lot of shows out there. I mean, man, pretty much all the shows are putting forth some either New World Order agenda, or there's satanic, or there's Illuminati things happening there. So, but I'll check it out. Thanks for asking. Hey, S.Y. Sizionita. I can't say everyone's name, but hey, good to see you. And let's see here. Moving on down. This is from GRKGRL33. Based on your opinion and your knowledge of God's word and from your personal relationship with God, pre-trib, mid-trib, or post-trib, be blessed. Thank you. Man, I've talked about that before in the past. You know, I get the things I get. You know, I get interested in the subjects I get interested in. I pray about stuff like this. That's why I don't make a video every day, because I kind of want to make sure that I'm making videos that count, that I need to get out there. Sometimes I'll do news stories here and there, but most of the time I really have to feel like I'm, you know, inspired to do these things. And I've prayed about the rapture stuff. I've prayed, but I always get the same feeling back or thing, is that it's not for me to worry about, that I don't need to worry about it, and that I need to focus on just staying in the now, in the moment, you know, and just living day by day. And that's not saying that there is a pre-trib, post, or mid. I don't know. I'm just not the guy for it. I think if God wants me to know this stuff or whatever specifically, then I'm going to get it. And there's people on YouTube I greatly respect that really believe in the pre thing, that they think that as soon as the event takes place, we're going up. And I hope they're right. That's the Groxt and Jonathan Kleck, or two guys, another couple guys I got a lot of love for and have been friends with on YouTube for a long time, and have always really greatly respected their work. And, you know, but those guys they both say the same thing. You know, they believe that we're going to go, that Jesus is going to get us quick, like when it all starts going down, and we're going to be gone. And then that's when the New World Order really comes in. And then that's when you're looking at tribulation saints and things like this. And, you know, so there's that, right? I don't know, man. I get so confused whenever I've thought about it. And that's why I just get away from it, because I don't want to confuse any of you. I'll never talk about something if I don't feel like I'm right, or if I don't feel like I've got something to say that's clear and concise, you know. And that's one of those subjects I don't get it. I don't get it, whatever it is. I'm prepared for whatever, though. I'm prepared for it. You know, I don't want to have to stay here. You know, if there's a way out, if Jesus is going to take us first, if that's the plan, yes, love it. You know, let's do that. But if not, I'm not going to have my heart broken. You know, we need to be just trusting God and just be ready for whatever, or study it on your own. You know, really pray about it and ask God, ask Jesus, say, hey, show me this. I need to know. Please, will you show me? If it be in your will you show me this? You do that, or there's plenty of people on YouTube you can find. But the problem for me has been that I find so many that believe in each one, and each of these videos I see and the things they're saying, they're all so convincing. I'm like, I don't know. So, that's one I just kind of think about in private a lot and just take it day by day. I try not to worry about it either way. I don't want to, I don't know. I just think a lot of people are just kind of already given up. A lot of people, I'm done. Jesus is coming, so whatever. I don't want to be that way either. I try to make each day count. We're still alive. We're still here. Try to make each day count. I don't want to be a doom tart, as I joke around about sometimes, but not that any of you are. Some of you may be, but don't just be like doom, doom, doom. Come on, destruction. I've grappled with that too, though. I got to tell you, I know how it feels. Sometimes you're like, just get it over with, But I don't think that's right either. We gotta be here. We gotta live, right? So let's move on down here. Let's see what we got. Okay, here we go. Hi, ex-God O. Hey, April Hare. Good to see you. Question from ex-God O. Says, question, a friend of mine has been depressed his whole life. He isn't suicidal, but it zaps all of his energy and spirit almost all the time. He doesn't want to take pills. What should I do to help? That's interesting because that kind of leads me into what I was going to talk about with my trip to Panama. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. It's the top of the hour and I've been talking kind of nonstop. So I'm going to take about a minute break. I'm going to put us on a little quick mute here. Please feel free to take your break, get you a refill on something to drink, pet the puppies, hug the kittens, whatever else you got to do. I'll be back in just about 1 minute and we're going to talk about some of that stuff. And I'll tell you a little bit about Panama too, okay? Hold tight, guys. Thanks. Okay, guys. Hey, thank you very much. It was a short little break. I'm back. Thanks for waiting. Okay. Ex-God O would ask the question about his friend being depressed his whole life. He's not suicidal, but it zaps all of his energy and spirit almost all the time. He doesn't want to take pills. What should you do to help? Okay, here's where we go into some stuff here. I've talked about this in the past, and I'm an empath. Okay, that's the term some people use for it. I've always said I'm a sensitive. And I've always been that way. Some people would say it's because I'm a Pisces, okay, whatever it is, okay, that I'm a water sign, and that's why. But I've always been I can feel people. I can feel energy around me. In fact, if I'm around really strong personalities, I'm mutable too. I feel like I'm a chameleon. I can mix right in with any group of people, and that shows in my types of friends I have right now that I've had throughout my life, that I can mix in any group you can imagine. I've lived in 10 different places now. 9 different states, now a different country as an adult. So I've always been a bit of a gypsy, and that's just the way I am. Now, a lot of that has been running away from bad energy too, in a way. And what I'm saying is that, like I said, man, before I talk too much about myself, okay, let's talk about your friend. I wonder if he's one of us. That's what I'm wondering. I wonder if your friend is an empath. I wonder if he's a sensitive. He very well might be, and that's probably where a lot of that stuff's coming from. And if he is, he needs to figure out, is the situation that he's in right now or has been throughout his life, is it nurturing enough for him or not? Because if it's not, he needs to get the hell out. You got to get away from the darkness. You got to get away from bad people. This is kind of what happened with Panama with me. I'm going to talk some about that in a second. But that's what I wonder about when I hear about people being sad and depressed and things like this. There's also spirits of oppression. There's also portals we look at. Is he abusing drugs? Is he an alcoholic? Is he promiscuous? Is he having sex with a lot of different people? If he's having sex with a lot of different people, he's taking in a lot of different people's energy, and that'll make you go cuckoo, cuckoo. If you take in too much, it makes you go cuckoo. You shouldn't be, we're not supposed to be promiscuous. You're not supposed to be banging everything that walks, because you take in some of that energy. There's an energy exchange there. That's real stuff, and you're taking that in from these people. And imagine the fragmented personalities of these whores, men and women. These people that, not just the ones that get paid, but even the people who just go out and bang whatever they can every chance they get. And we wonder why a lot of these people are dark as they grow older, and they have all these issues, and they become even more perverse, a lot of them, unless they can turn it over and repent, right, and get to know Jesus and go with God, right, and get out of that, get away from that stuff. But that's what my question would be for your friend: is he one of us? Is he as sensitive? Is he an empath? Is the Holy Spirit really strong in this one? Is he really sensitive to the people and the environment around him? So one of the reasons I came out here, guys, this is one of the reasons I can be out here and be alone for so long. I mean, I'm not always alone. I got my cat and I got friends I can chat with here and there online, and family, I said. But most of the time I'm alone. I'm reading, or I'm researching something. I'm making videos. I'm out in nature. I go to the beach a lot. I ride my bike. I go see monkeys goofing around in trees. I mean, I do stuff like that, but I did a lot of this for myself too, because I've been doing this stuff for 8 years, researching all this stuff and whatever, and I take it in, and it's not easy for me either. I'm not just over here like maniacally like, we're gonna scare the hell out of them all, It's not like that, because the stuff scares me sometimes too. It used to. I mean, I'm getting a lot stronger. I have for years now, but it used to scare the crap out of me too, and I'd take it in, and I'd feel it, and that's just the way I am. So your friend might be one of those people. Certainly he shouldn't be taking any pills. I'm glad you say he doesn't want to take any pills. I mean, the obvious stuff alone. Look at all these, I think I've shown a lot of this in some videos, but look at all these pharmaceutical companies that push pills. I mean, 90% of them have the pyramid with the eye or something, or the pyramid at least, or a pyramid with a sun symbol at the top or whatever. Tons of Illuminati or beast system symbolism around those pills. That's all. It's modern day necromancy. It's pharmakia. That stuff's dangerous. If I had to choose a drug, I would obviously say you better smoke a joint before you take any one of these pills that these companies are making. If you're going to have to take a drug for whatever reason, I'd say smoke a joint. Okay. Don't try to keep it as natural as possible. But even the joints with the stores they're making now, and they're making it legal, a lot of that stuff's been treated. So it's not, this isn't your grandma and grandpappy's weed people are smoking nowadays, unless you can find it the old school way. People just growing it from old seeds and all natural and not treating it or whatever. There's that. But I'm not telling you to go smoke it, but hey, man, if it's your thing, it's your thing. I did plenty of it throughout my life. I've never been shy about telling you that. I was maniacal in my early years as far as partying goes. Pretty much did it all. First one at the party, last one to leave. So if I left, if I could make it out, but if I had to choose something to take the edge off, I would choose wine. I would choose weed. If you had to choose, if there was a gun to my head and said choose, that is what my choices would be. But anyway, with your friend. So like I said, he could be being oppressed. He could be, you got to look at what kind of music the guy's listening to. Is he awake? Is he aware? Is he still listening to Nicki Minaj and stuff like that? That'll depress you. That'll put spirits on you. What kind of movies is he watching? What kind of media is he into? Is he awake? Is he aware? If he's not, then he's getting stuff put on him. You can be awake and aware and watch this media, and it doesn't affect you the way it's intended to. You can see through it. You can even extract truth from it where you need to. But if you're still lost and you don't know the symbols and don't know what's going on, all this stuff can be putting demons on you. That's the way I see it, all of it. So, and of course, what should you do to help? There's the old, just pray about it. But that's just so, it's right? But it just doesn't feel right. You go to God. But seriously, go to God. And also, think about all that stuff I told you. You're going to have to look into that stuff. And I was a medic in the military, so this is kind of what you're going to have to do, is diagnose him. Look at these different elements in his life and try to figure it out. Talk to him. Be there. Be a friend. And just say, man, what's going on? Talk to me. Give me your heart, man. I love you, and I'm not going to harm you. And I really want to know. I care about you. When did this start? Where does this go? For all we know, this kid was abused. He could have been a kid abused at an early age. Maybe someone just broke his heart. He just got out of a relationship. I don't know. But there's a lot of things to consider. But we're also living in a very spiritually crazy time. There's a lot of wicked energy out there, and at the same time, I think a lot of us sensitives and empaths, if you will, we're the light shining in us. We're feeling it. The Holy Spirit's really showing up in a lot of people in different ways, and people's gifts are manifesting, and it's exciting. There's a lot of crazy energy, man. So I'm glad that you care about your friend. Please stick with them and just look at all the stuff I was talking about and try to figure it out. Okay. I hope that helps you. Hi, Phoenix Cat. I'm good. Thanks for asking. Hi, Robert Ball says, hey, KJ, have you heard of the Mishnah? M-I-S-H-N-A-H. I have not heard of the Mishnah, but I'd like to. I'd like to. Tell me all about it. Let's see what else we got here. Hi, Jakari Welch. Good to see you. Oh, okay, Miss Peacock. She says, check out. Apparently, Professor Doom has done some videos on RH blood types already. Bummer. Not that I like Professor Doom too, actually. I'm just bummer because, because if someone else has already done it, I don't like to do it usually. But I'll take a look. If I can add an extra twist to it or make it something different or find something new, I'll do it. But I'm going to go watch his RH blood type videos now. So anybody wondering about RH blood type, check out Professor Doom 1, I think is his channel name now. And he's apparently got some videos on that. Mr. Two Scoops says, honestly, I don't think the next election will even occur. I've been saying that for over 2 years. Says, with the soon-to-be war against America, aka Mystery Babylon, it won't even get to the next president. Man, I've been speculating on that for a couple of years. It's in some of my old Obama videos. You can see that I was saying it back in even 2012. I was like, I just got this feeling, guys, that, Obama's the last president for America. I've been saying it for a long time. And we'll see. And that's why, again, I think this is all bread and circus stuff with Trump. And I cannot believe, and Godlike Productions, again, I've talked about it before. This used to be a real cutting-edge website, a real cutting-edge forum, I think, for truth in a lot of ways. I mean, they used to cover, man, just pretty much everything. They still kind of do, but now you can tell how it's really been, it's a psyop now, man. It's been taken over. Star Spirit, I think his name was, the guy that used to run Godlike. Godlike Productions is a conspiracy forum, for those of you who don't know, and it's been around for years. It's one of those things I used years ago as a resource when I was first waking up. I used to go to vigilantcitizen.com all the time. I still do. Another great website. Great website. I wish I could meet Vigilant Citizen, or at least, I've told you I don't want to do a lot of interviews in the future with a new radio show, but he'd be a great, or she, for all I know, could be a great interview. It's somebody I've greatly respected throughout the years. I really like their work, so check out Vigilant Citizen as well. But they've done some stuff and all that as well. So anyway, let's move along here. Let's see. And I ramble on. Hi, Philip Pringle. Good to see you, man. Says, do the live chat comments disappear once you post the broadcast on your channel? They do, man. That's the thing. Yeah. All these comments, most of them disappear whenever I post these up. I don't post them. Whenever I close this down, YouTube posts it up just automatically. Within 30 minutes, it's on my channel. And they erase like almost all this stuff you guys are talking about. So that's why I always ask, if you got something to say or got a question for next week or got a link you want to leave, man, just wait till I'm uploaded and then you can drop it there. So we'll do that. Okay. Let's see what else we got here. Scrolling on down. I got a lot of questions, man. I'm just catching up with you guys. This is, let's see here. Dirt Lily 66. Do you believe the hack on America's intelligence is going to lead to a possible military? Would any nation risk invading the United States, or is it going to be part of a show for the Kabbalists want? I mean, biblically, it's looking like it's going to be Russia, China, and elements of Islam are going to be attacking America. And I've always been one to believe that it's literally going to be an attack on America, that Russia and China and all them are coming. And a lot of people have had dreams and visions about that. A lot of them are seeing them come in from up north, like Alaska, I think, and down into Washington State, Washington State and Oregon area and things like that. But then people have seen, the tsunamis on the East Coast from a Russian sub launching a nuke out there, and people are seeing all kinds of things. But just from all the stuff I see, because I see so much, from all the stuff I've seen and the things I've thought about and tried to put together in my own mind, it seems to be that it's literally going to be an attack on America. And it seems like a lot of events are going to take place at once. Perhaps this comet, or maybe it'll be actually one of the space weapons is going to do it, and they'll tell us it's a comet. Who knows? But whatever attack, whatever big event happens on America, something hits and causes destruction, right? A lot of people believe that's going to happen first. There's going to be a lot of earthquakes and all that, and then that's when America will be attacked because she'll be weak, right? So there's that. Oh man, gosh, I guess I've got a few videos to make, but there's some information I got to tell you is really, man, I wish I would have pulled this up so I could read it to you and tell you exactly what it is. But just this past week, the guy that was in charge of our nukes in America, the general, got fired. So, and there've been several others. I've shown that just over the last several years since Obama's been in office, he's removed more generals than any other president in our history. But now, just recently, over the last few weeks, a couple of these guys associated with the nukes have been taken off post. And you look at that compared to all the stuff happening right now, and it's just like, it just feels like a setup, right? It feels like it's all a big setup. So, and Obama is going to betray America, right? That's the idea, that Obama is going to be our Judas. The mask will slip. You know, he's totally, you know, he's just going to give it away, basically, or let whatever happens, happens. They got their bunkers to hide in, right? So they ain't worried about it. But so that's kind of my thoughts on that. Hey, Jeff Elkins, Fukushima equals wormwood. Man, that's a good one. Perhaps. That's another one I said. I need to look into some Fukushima, but perhaps. A lot of people think wormwood's, you know, Nibiru, you know, or Planet X as well. And let's scroll on down here. Let's see what else we got. Here's Games Exposed. Hi, Games. It says, do a talk show with Nicholson 1968. Hey, Nicholson's another one. He's my buddy. I've actually Skyped with him. We didn't show each other our faces, but we talked on Skype a few times, and I had him on the old radio show. I don't know, man. I kind of want to do it all alone for a while. And like I said, I've got a new radio show coming out. I've got to just book it and get this stuff done. But it's going to be coming out where I just interview you guys. It'll be a call-in show, and you can call in because I want to give you guys a voice. I feel like that's important. You know, let's hear it from you. Let's hear from the public. Let's give you a chance to talk and tell us about your thoughts, your feelings. What do you think about this stuff? What kind of links do you have? What kind of stories are you interested in? And I can chat with a lot of you, so I think it'll be great. It'll be a lot of fun. But I'm just I'm not into any partnerships right now or any interviews, or I'm not even doing interviews. I've had some people ask, and I just feel like I need to kind of keep it on my own for a while and just do it like this, you know. But thanks for asking. Hi, Jake Sherman. Okay, that's an interesting one. He says, KJ, please talk about David Duke exposing Alex Jones as the Zionist shill he is. I'm not making this up. Look it up. Hey, man, I need to watch that one because I saw a lot of people talking about that. I sub to Alex Jones, but I sub to a lot of channels. I sub to TMZ. You know, you never know what kind of weird Illuminati news you're going to find in all these places or whatever. And Alex Jones, he's one of those channels I've been sub to for years. Obviously, I'm not, don't totally sign off on everything he says or does, but the David Duke thing, man, I'm interested in. Okay, folks, you guys can check this out as well. I'm going to look it up, Jake. That's one of those videos I meant to watch this week, or this weekend, now that I'm back. But I want to watch that. David Duke exposed Alex Jones as a Zionist shill. A lot of people have been talking about that, you guys. I don't know much about it right now, but I'm going to watch and see some videos and see what the deal is. But David Duke, he's really big with the KKK, and that's what always bothered me about him. I don't know if he's changed or anything, but he's got a really shady history as far as the racism and all that, you know, too, the KKK stuff. So I don't know, you know, I mean, how much of that's a show, you know, and is David Duke just another one of them? Or, you know, is it real? Did it really happen? Not that Alex Jones couldn't ever be a Zionist shill, because absolutely he could be, you know. I don't know, man. I just get weird feelings with Alex Jones sometimes. But again, I don't, until I really looked into it, I don't want to be saying for sure one way or the other. But I don't trust him the way I did. I think that happens to a lot of us. You know, he helped me wake me up when I first got into this stuff years ago with the Bohemian Grove footage and all that. But then as years go on, you do your own research and you grow and you learn. It's just, I don't know, you kind of, at least I pulled away from him. I pulled away from David Icke, definitely got away from David Icke, and a lot of these people, you know, you just kind of start seeing through them and wondering about them, and, you know, I get it. But thanks, I'll look it up, man. All right, scrolling down. Hi, Drake Quinn. Drake Quinn says BP Earthwatch does a lot of videos on Fukushima. All right, cool, I'll check that out, thanks. And then Sean Bragg's like, I agree. I think we need Nicholson 1968. Well, this show's not good enough for you, Sean Bragg. Sean Bragg, I'm not enough. You need Nicholson 1968. Come on, man. Come on. All right. Like I said, I'm just not into it, man. But hey, thanks for asking. Thanks for asking. I just don't want to be bringing other people on right now. Maybe I will in the future. We'll see. If you guys get to a point where you really think this show sucks that bad that you need to have somebody else on here, then maybe I'll start looking into it. Just let me know. Let's see what else we got here. The sheeple alarm clock. Do you think Michelle Obama's a man and Barack Obama's a man? LOL. I did some videos on that stuff in the past, man. I think it's highly suspect, and I would not be surprised at this point if Michelle Obama is Michael. And if he, whatever, really is a dude. I don't think it's that crazy. I really don't think it's that crazy at this point. I question it, and I think it's a very high possibility. I'll say that. Hi, Kitty Confusion. How you doing? Good to see you. Okay, let's see. A lot of people are asking about David Duke and Alex Jones. Jeremy Gibbs says, hey, KJ, did you hear about the meteor that hit Iran and it left a sign in the sky and they think it's a sign of the Lord's soon return? Heard all about the meteor. I'm waiting. That's one that I put in a file because I'm waiting and watching for all these signs that are coming, and that's one. And it's crazy. That was just a total media blackout in America, wasn't it? Did you guys hear about that? There's a huge a huge meteor that apparently had hit Iran. Now, the sign in the sky, I have not heard about. So again, Jeremy, thank you. And this is another reason I'm crazy about doing these shows, because I get to learn things from you guys too, and it gives me things to look up. A lot of times I'll have 3-4 news stories tucked away somewhere. I'm waiting for another piece, and then you guys, I'll start finding these things. I'm like, oh, okay, so this isn't exactly one of them, but it could be down the line, so I appreciate it. But I'm going to look that up, guys. An interesting one for you to all look up. The meteor that hit Iran and left a sign in the sky that could have something to do with the Lord's return. So check that out. All right, scrolling on down. Sojourner for Christ. How you doing? Good to see you. Tuning in out, just finished. Oh, you built 2 greenhouses? Good for you, man. Good for you. That's amazing. I want to get more into gardening. I can't do it so much where I'm at right now, but I can do everything else. It's cool. I can fish out here where I'm living and go to the beach. But gardening, man, I really feel drawn to that. I thought of moving away from the beach soon. It's almost like I'm waiting on September 23rd, like you guys. There is a part of me. It's almost like I've thought about moving away from the beach and going up into the mountains and getting more of a farm situation going so I can start growing stuff. But it's like I'm kind of waiting right now. Just like you guys. I don't know it all, man. I get pieces too. But I keep kind of waiting. It's like, gosh, man, I kind of want to wait and see what happens, but through September, I'm not one that says it's going down. I've not been that guy. I don't feel that so much, but you know what? What if I'm wrong? I have made videos about this stuff that you can bank on. I've shown you some things that are going to change and happen in 2014 or 2015 September. But as far as the event, I don't know. So I'm kind of still waiting, honestly. Maybe October 1st, I'll make my move, or November or something, but I've been wanting to get into gardening more myself. Moving on down, enough about gardening. Let's get into the doom. Where's the doom, KJ? Just kidding. All right, let's see. Moving on down here, scrolling on down. And if I don't see anything here in just a little bit, I'm just going to go ahead and tell you a little bit about my trip to Panama and what I wanted to talk about. Okay, here's Sojourner for Christ question. What are your thoughts on this Madonna ritual to take place? Okay, that's a good one. Have you done a video on her? I have touched on her and other things in the past. Sojourner says, personally, I think we should surround her concert in a prayer circle. Yeah, says Nonviolent Armor of God. That'd be incredible. That'd be incredible. It'd be interesting to see how all that stuff plays out. But yeah, but see, I wish more people were thinking like that. They're not. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know, but it'd be interesting. The ritual that Sojourner's talking about, let me see. I think I've got some notes on that over here. And that's supposed to be happening. In fact, here's some stuff. Here's just a little list of things I can give you. I'm going to scroll through here and see if it's something you haven't heard, but here's a list of different things that we can expect for September 2015. I've already done videos where I've shown you most of this stuff, but what our friend is talking about is that September 12th, I've got it right here, Madonna's Rebel Heart tour opens in the United States. The first stop will be in Washington, D.C., and according to sources, it says that the opening theme is going to be about the desecration of the bride and the arrival of fallen angels. Okay, I'm going to have to look more into that, because that might be a video I need to make. And then I'd probably have other pieces of other things I've been waiting on, and that's going to fit in here. And then I've got to, then I'm making a video. That's how I usually do my videos. But that's very interesting, and I appreciate you bringing that one up. So yeah, September 12th, Madonna's Rebel Heart tour is opening up in the States, starting in Washington, D.C. And the opening thing, apparently, what people are saying, that's why I haven't done anything yet, but I need to look this up more and wait. But apparently it's going to be about the desecration of the bride and the arrival of the fallen angels, which could be very interesting. I've done a lot of videos on the fallen angels, guys, that whole thing. And even the last Grammys, I did a big video on the last Grammys and all the symbolism there. Man, there was some creepy stuff where Katy Perry had a white robe on, standing in front of this huge, like, thin white screen, and behind her, it was basically this huge shadow of fallen angels kept showing up. And not even, it wasn't her shadow, it was mimicked like it was her, but it was actually people back there doing stuff. And it was these enormous, giant shadows behind her that had like wings and all this and acted all weird. So there's also a UNICEF commercial. I'm going to add this in another video soon. I've seen other people putting this one up there, but there's a UNICEF commercial that came out about a month ago, or just maybe a few weeks ago. And it's all about the fallen angel propaganda as well. It shows a little green alien child hybrid going to school and trying to make it through the day, and how the kids treat him, and how we really need to be nice to him and kind of welcome it in. So you can look up that UNICEF alien hybrid commercial, and you'll see what I'm talking about. And like I said, I'll probably put that in a bigger video, just as more evidence or whatever, down the road. But yeah, total propaganda, total fallen angel propaganda, and that's how they're going to come to us. It'll be as our alien saviors. It's going to be little aliens, most likely the Greys or whatever. Maybe they'll tell us about all the different kinds of aliens and have different types they'll show us. Maybe it'll just be a ball orb of light, that shapeshifts. I don't know, man. I don't know. But I know it's coming, because they've been pushing that propaganda for a long time on us, for a long time. So there's that stuff with Madonna. Let's scroll on down here, see what else we got. All right, we already hit that. And yep, Mr. Two Scoops had talked about that, about Russia. And let's see, scrolling on down. Angel White says, hey, KJ, have you seen a commercial for Sky One called You, Me, and the Apocalypse coming soon? I have not, but thank you, Angel White. That's another one I need to look up. Guys, it's another one for you to look up. Sounds interesting. A commercial for Sky One called You, Me, and the Apocalypse coming soon. More symbolism, most likely. So I'll have to check it out. Thank you for mentioning that. All right, still scrolling down, just looking through questions. And let's see. Oh, thanks, Macy, or R Macy 52. You like the new picture and you love the live shows. Thank you very much. Yeah, I appreciate it, man. I wanted to try something different. I explained the whole thing in the beginning of the show, but yeah, so I appreciate you. I'm glad you like it. I think it fits the channel. I think it fits the channel just fine. Okay, yeah, Philip Pringle, that's another one I meant to say, but yeah, you're right. And I think I've mentioned this. Well, this is in one of my videos, and I mentioned this in one of my shows a while back. Thanks for re-mentioning it, though. It is good to bring up. Philip Pringle says, hey, KG, have you heard about the rabbi who is calling all Jews back to Israel for 9/12/15 for the coming of the Messiah, but not the Messiah, their Messiah? That's the Antichrist. I don't care what you say. Some of you are going to argue with me about it. The Jewish, in this particular case, the Jewish Messiah they're talking about is not Jesus Christ. That's going to be the false Messiah, the false Christ. But yeah, this is a really well-known, world-renowned rabbi. You guys can look this one up. He's been calling for all Jews to return to Israel for the 12th of September, which is a couple weeks away, for the coming of their Messiah. You see why September is exciting right now? I don't see anything. I don't have that vision with this. I don't see something huge, but then again, I don't know, I just don't know, but I'm waiting patiently, and I'm watching, and I'm praying, and I pray that whatever happens, that I'm prepared. I'm going to be okay. My family's going to be okay. My loved ones are okay. That you guys are okay. That we're okay. That God's kids are okay, and that we figure it out. Or if we don't have to deal with stuff, I'll see you at the feast. We'll see. But let's scroll on down here. All right, still scrolling. Jeremy. Yep. Okay, Jeremy, good to see you. Neil Russell says, question, did you ever have a reply from that blood over intent dude? I would like to hear him explain himself on the sources. Take it easy, mate. No, and he won't. That's what these guys do. That's a guy that I didn't even watch. I don't know what his blood over intent stuff is. Most of these, he's all, okay. That's another one of these trolls I dealt with a while back. And that's what I'll do is I'll put them on blast if I find them doing stuff or lying about me. And this guy was lying about me. He said I made some other channel so I could attack the guy. I didn't even know who this guy was. I explained all this a few weeks ago. It was weird. And I put him on blast in my Google and called him out and said, hey, come on the show, my Catching with KJ. Let's talk about this. I want to see why you're lying about me. And no, I haven't heard from him and I never will. He's a coward. Those people won't do it. This is why I'll put him on blast every time because they won't show up. It's righteous anger. All right. But when I know I'm right and I know someone's a bold-faced liar, I'll totally call him out and say, come on. You guys haven't seen that side of me. If I can ever get one of these liars on, we'll rip him to shreds. It's going to be great. You'll love it. I won't be yelling and screaming. It's just the truth. We'll rip these people's stories to shreds. Hey, Jack. Thanks, Jack. Watershed, hi. Good to see you. Still scrolling down. Effie says, did I miss sharing some of your screenplay stories? Yeah, I haven't told you guys about my screenplays too much. I got a bunch of them. Maybe I'll get into that in a second. I'm going to scroll down some more, though, and just see if I got any other questions. I want to see how caught up I am. Hi, Noble Song. Well, thank you. I'm glad you're here. And still scrolling down, because I think I kind of want to chat about Panama a little bit, guys. I want to ask you guys a few things about, or not ask, tell you guys a few things about this and see what you think. Hi, Kinley. Good to see you. Okay, still scrolling up. Still scrolling up. All right, I'm going to take it at just about another minute break here and just get a quick drink, and then I'll come right back, and I'm going to talk a little bit about Panama, and then I'm going to keep scrolling down and see if I can't catch some more questions. I'm getting a lot of questions. Like I said, guys, I really appreciate it, but, man, I totally miss some of these as we go. And, hey, Marta Gil-Vaz, good to see you. I'm glad you could make it. As I said, that's why I do this every week, so I can try to get as many as I can in or whatever. But there are some stuff I wanted to talk about, a few little things. I'm going to put you on a quick pause for 1 minute, guys, and I'll be right back, okay? Thanks. Okay, guys, thank you very much for waiting. I'm back. All right, let me jump into this here. Here's what I wanted to talk to you about with Panama. So earlier we had a question from one of our friends on here, and they're talking about their friend who's depressed, and I started kind of getting into some different things and some possibilities of why. They said that I'm an empath, and I've talked about that in other videos. I get these numbers. I've shown you that. I had a video about 3 years ago. It's still on the channel. I see 111 everywhere. What does it mean? I'm just very sensitive, like very spiritually sensitive, I guess you can say. I can read people really well. I was a really good poker player for a long time, really good. Like won money playing poker, good amounts of money in the past. And I quit that a long time ago, but I used to be really good, mainly live games, not internet stuff. If I was in front of people, man, I could do really good. And that's just because I get a good read on people. And you may think that's great, but it's not. It's not always great to be able to just feel people and feel their intentions and see through their lies and stuff. I mean, it's just, that's not always awesome. And some of you are like that too. You're just really sensitive people. So we're the type of people that the narcissists feed off of, and there's a lot of narcissism in this culture. It's really grown throughout the years. And they feed off of us, they feed off of us. And not just narcissists, just angry people, nasty people. I almost see it as the wheat and the tares. I'm putting myself in the wheat portion of that, of course. But then there's tares, it's these almost soulless type people. And I'm half playing about that idea. I've put that into a lot of my videos, the way I see the wheat and the tares and all that in the past, and what it could be. I speculate as well. But I've also said in a lot of my videos that everything's so spiritually heightened right now that I really do believe we're seeing the darkness and dark people rise and the light and light people rise. And that's what's happening, right? It's a part of it. So here's the deal. Okay, so I'm living in Central America, and every 3 months I have to cross a border. I have my choice. I can go to Nicaragua, which I'll probably go to maybe next time, or I can go down to Panama, which I went to this time. I've never done this before. I've only been out of America for a few months now. 3 months, I guess, around 3 months, right? Because I had to do this. So, and where I'm living is a really isolated kind of area in Costa Rica. And I'm the only person aside from my 2 landlords that speak English that I know of. And I've learned a lot of the basic words, so I can get through exchanges. I can go to the grocery store. I can do stuff like that. I can do very basic things with people. We're learning that. I've already got pretty good at some of this stuff. But to learn a whole new language and carry on a conversation is a big deal. It's not that easy, you know, and I don't know if I'm going to get there or not because my head's in so many other places. I got other things I got to do, you know, make my website and do my radio show and do this and make videos and plus take breaks, you know, get out in nature, which is important. But for my soul, for me, I have to get out there in the water, and I got to get out and ride my bike and all that. But I'm sensitive. I know that. Took me years to fully understand what it meant or what it was. I didn't even know it when I first became awake, exactly what it was, but I always knew I had this ability, these abilities. You know, I could just see through people. I could feel people, and I could even diagnose friends with issues and stuff just talking to them. I was always my friend's psychologist in a lot of ways, you know, throughout the years. One of those guys. A lot of you people are like that too. You're just very spiritually sensitive, you know, and I've always been that way. And it's really increased over the years. But the bad part is that, you know, what happens when you have to be around people that are a little darker? What happens when you have to be around people that don't even believe in God, you know? And not that those people are all horrible. You know, I've known a lot of atheists who are very intelligent, and they're great people, and they're kind, and they're loving, and I'm not saying it like that either, but this is a different case, my particular case for Panama. So I had to go to Panama to cross the border. One of my landlords, it's a married couple, and they're older, they're retired, okay? But the man, he offered to drive me there because he likes to do shopping in Panama. It's really cheap. There's no taxes over there. It's also much more Americanized in Panama than it is in Costa Rica, which was really weird. It almost felt like I was back in America at certain times being in Panama, just by the way that their fashion, the way that people dress, and the way some of the stores are made and built, and the gas stations. A lot of it just feels American. It's not like that in Costa Rica. It's very different. So it was kind of weird. Anyway, he said he'd do that. He had a friend that was supposed to go with us, and the guy backed out last minute. So it wound up me and this guy, and I had to ride with him for like 5 to 6 hours all the way to the border, cross the border, which if you've never crossed a border from one Central American country to another, buckle up. It is not fun. I mean, it's a real process, lots of paperwork and all this other stuff, especially when you don't know the language. You're like, you know, huh? What'd you say? So I really needed to be with this guy. It's my landlord, right? Because he speaks Spanish and English. And he's originally American. Now, here's the issue, is that they've been good to me. His wife's amazing. She's a light. His wife is a little empath. She's a light worker, if you will, or whatever, but you know, she's a light spirit, you know. I haven't talked to her about God or Jesus. I don't know if she is into that or not. I don't know if she knows, you know, but he doesn't. He's an atheist, you know. He's like he's an atheist, but he's very hardcore. It's the thing. It's the issue here. Okay, we're gonna get into some stuff. And again, I don't want to talk a lot of bad stuff on the guy because they've been great. They really helped me out, and you know, it's been great. And you know, they're there for me. I need them sometimes. They're there. It's good. But I knew having to ride with this guy in the truck for 5 to 6 hours and stay in a foreign country with a guy for 4 days and 3 nights, which we had different rooms, by the way, which helps. In fact, I'll get to that in a second. But because I didn't see him when I got over there. But I knew it was going to be a chore because the few times I've had to be around this guy, it's been really rough because he's a prick. And now, pardon the expression, okay? I know that may bother some people, but I mean in the sense that he's like a thorn in your side, just pricking. You know, he's one of those guys that loves to fight. He loves to debate. He doesn't believe in God, and he thinks Obama's the best president we've ever had. And he loves Obama, thinks he's incredible. He's totally not awake. Rut-row, KJ's in trouble, right? KJ's in trouble. And boy, was I. And it's not fun. Because like I said, he's kind of like my sister. I'm estranged from my sister. I haven't been close to her since forever, since I was a kid. Because she's one of those energies. She's one of those people. They like to fight. They're not loving. They're not very kind. I know this sounds bad. This is just my experience with her, okay, throughout my life. I'm not close to her, and she's not close to me. She doesn't care. She don't care. But they're not nice people, you know. And me, I'm nice to a fault. I'll be kind to you and generous and everything else. I've throughout the years, though, I've grown because I'm a little rougher on the edges too. I also don't take people's BS for long. I'll put a smile on my face. I'll be nice to you for a while. But if you keep digging, if you keep being a prick, if you keep pricking me, eventually I'm going to snap, and I'm going to let you know you don't do that with me, because that's what these kind of personalities will do. Do you know these kind of personalities? I'm sure you do. Some people that just like to fight. They just like to argue, and everything, and even the way they say things, their tone is very hateful. It's very snappy and very hateful, right? And this is the way this person is. And I've had to be around them a few times in the past, like for day trips and stuff, and it was really rough because I could feel it. I could feel it. It's like a knot in my stomach. And like I could feel this guy's kind of anger and just, I guess, darkness. I don't know, but it's just, so I was always just trying to be nice and trying to just, you know, keep conversations. A while back, I made the mistake. He started talking about Obama. I was like, and I kind of got into my stuff. You know, I had to kind of start laying before I knew the guy. And then that's when I realized what I was up against. Then he freaks out, starts calling me names. He's like, oh, you're one of those birthers, aren't you? You're a birther. Yeah, I knew it when I first met you. You was one of them. He starts saying stuff like that. I'm like, whoa, dude, whoa. But yeah, I guess you can call me a birther. But you know what? It's a lot worse than that. And see, I can't get into all that stuff with this guy, man. The dude is fully asleep. Fully asleep. And this is one of two people that speak English in the country I'm in that I've never been in before. I'm in a truck with this guy. I got to cross a border that's a pain in the neck. And he's the only person I can turn to. And everything I say and every answer he has is snarky. You didn't know that? I'm like, no, bro, this is my first time going to Panama and leaving Costa Rica, and I've been here a few months. So yeah, I could totally use your help, you know. It was stuff like that, you know. Okay, you know, he's like that. All right. Just snappy, you know, just snappy. Kind of a prick. And like I said, man, I struggle with this because I'm also incredibly grateful that he's in my life and his wife's in my life because they've helped me out with things too, just figuring out some of the stuff out here. But he's one of those people that I know that my energy, if you will, and his energy don't mix. I mean, it was so bad that even when we were going out there, right, because I had downloaded a bunch of movies to my tablet. I was just going to watch a bunch of, and some episodes of shows that I've tried to watch online. And I figured I'd just kind of download a bunch of media and have some media to look at. Most of it was for research, actually, some things I'm trying to pick apart. Some's just for fun, goofy stuff. You know, I watch some dumb, not anything really mainstream. I watch Tim and Eric Awesome shows sometimes, weird stuff. I like weird, goofy, dumb stuff. It's hard to explain. It helps me take a break because I'm always thinking, you know, so sometimes I need to watch the Aqua Teen Hunger Force, or I need to watch something stupid, you know, I don't know. Maybe some of you are like that, maybe you're not, but that's what I need. And then, of course, I need my meat. You know, I like to read my Bible. I like to be spiritually fed as well, but it's a balance for me. You know, it's all a balance. So I downloaded a bunch of stuff. I figured I'd watch all this media on the road out there, and that way to have the old earbuds in. It's the way to, you know, tune people out, right? Oh, what, I couldn't hear you? Yeah, got the earbuds in. Yeah, well, what was that? So I was trying to do that. Turns out I get in the truck. We hit the road, man. Every one of those movies and shows I tried to download, none of them had finished downloading. This tablet's the worst. It like takes forever to download. And I started the stuff that evening. I figured it'd gone through, but no, it hadn't. So I had nothing. All I had, I had a book on there. I mentioned this earlier in the show. It's a book on Nikola Tesla. I had that downloaded, and that was it. And nothing else. Not even my music yet. I didn't have my music on there. I'm like, because there's some music I was going to try to put on there. So basically, my experience has been so bad with him in the past, and it already started off kind of rough with this trip with him, just the way his attitude was. Like I said, everything you say is just like, it seems like this could lead into a fight, a debate, an argument. He's going to be snarky. You didn't know that? You know, why aren't you doing this? Why did you do that? Just stuff like that. It's like, oh, do I really got to deal with this? But you put on a nice face, you just try to go with it, right? So I basically put my earbuds in and acted like I was listening to something or watching something the whole ride, just so I didn't have to talk to this person. I had to protect my core, I had to protect myself, but I did read most of my book, which is good. So I had my book to look at and read, but my book on Nikola Tesla. But I didn't really have anything going on in the old earbudders, but I had them in the holes, and I had them in the old head holes there, so I could act like I was listening to something and not have to deal. And that's just because I've had such bad experiences with this gentleman in the past. And he's really big into Obama, thinks that Obama's the man, thinks anyone who doesn't like Obama is a racist. We got into all that stuff, and I just knew it was going to be rough. So it was pretty rough getting out there. Even the few moments I had to deal with him, it was pretty rough. Like, he's just a combative type personality, and I try to be kind and gentle because I know I've got a side that can knock someone's lights out. And I don't want to go to that side, ever. But that is a side of my personality I have to watch for. So anyway, we got there, time we got across the border, and I dealt with this guy a little bit. I just said, look, I'm good. I don't need to go shopping the next few days with you or whatever. I'm just going to kind of find my own way, okay? And I appreciate it. We had rooms in the same hotel, and it worked out. And I really just got lost in Panama. I shot some footage on my tablet, so I'm going to try to compile a video sometime, and I'll show you some footage of crossing the border and what it looks like out there. But it's a whole different world. Just imagine, none of these people can speak your language. As far as you know, some probably can, but you don't know it. But, the mass majority of them, they speak their language and you can't communicate with them. I could do basic stuff, but that's it. But it was still kind of a trip. It felt interesting walking through there. But what's weird? I didn't feel any more alien there than I felt even back in Oklahoma and any other place I've lived recently, because I feel like an alien in most places I live. Not, a space alien, not a legal alien so much, but just that I don't belong. We are a peculiar people. All of us are that believe we're a peculiar people. And I certainly am in that respect, because I guess it's the fact I can just feel like I see through a lot of people's stuff. I feel the energy from people and stuff. My family's, I love them. God bless them. My mom and dad, and we're really close, love each other and everything, but I can't talk about this stuff with them. Old friends I lost throughout the years, have no real friends back in Oklahoma anymore, nothing like that. So I got nowhere to go. Got nothing to do out there. I felt alone, felt like an alien. I didn't feel any different being in Panama, walking among people I couldn't even communicate with. It was the same feeling. And I always say, I always think about God. I always think about Jesus. I'm like, you're here with me. It's me and you. It's us. Protect me, guide me. Let's have some fun. So I just kind of stumbled around through town a few days, and that's about it. It was interesting. And then came back, and it was a little rough coming back again, just having to kind of deal with the attitude he has a little bit here and there. But by then, over the 3 days I was in Panama, I had Wi-Fi in the hotel. I learned my lesson, so I fully downloaded music and movies and videos and stuff. So that way on the way back, I actually had something going on in the old earbuds in my head holes, so it worked out pretty good. But there's people like that. Do you have them in your life too? Maybe you do, and we got to deal with them. And I know, what would Jesus do? Certainly I want to try that, but I'm human and I make a lot of mistakes. And I actually had to get stern with him a couple times on the way home. And I think that's what kind of settled it. Because if you stand up for yourself with these people, that's the other thing. I find they back down pretty quick. Because we were in an office trying to get back across the border to Costa Rica, and I was having to file all that. Like, I bought a couple things over there, and I had to claim whatever I'd filed, whatever I'd bought there before I came to Costa Rica. And I'd never filled these kind of forms out before. Most of them are written almost all in Spanish. I'm just having to kind of wing it. And occasionally I think I'm done. I set it on the table in front of the lady. And then the guy I'm with, this guy, right, is real snarky. Have you ever filled out a form before? Stuff like this. Here, try it again. Just stuff like that. I'm like, oh, dude, I'm about to snap. I'm about to snap on this guy. I'm like, dude, I've never filled these things. This is my first time leaving the country. Okay, but thank you. I try again. He does it. He did it again. He's like, and he gives me the stuff. And I said his name really stern. I kind of put my fist down on the ground on the table, like, boom. I'll just call him John for this case. I go, John, no. And then when you do that with these people, they give that look like, then all of a sudden you're the bad guy. It's like, what? How dare you? You're the bad guy all of a sudden because you stood up. But that was enough to shut him down, and that got us through the border. And then I got the earbuds in and made it all the way home. So even I deal with my things like this. Maybe some of you do. Maybe I'm just rambling and I'm making no sense whatsoever. But there's a lot of that out there, man. It's rough, you know. It is what it is. Man, there's so many questions. I know I didn't get to everybody, and I'm sorry. Okay, I appreciate y'all asking. That's one thing I was saying earlier in the show. If you missed this, you can always leave questions. Once the show's uploaded to my channel, please feel free to leave any questions. If you're interested, leave some questions there that I can answer next week. I'll do a little looking up or whatever, find your questions, and I'll make sure I address them. Or you can just wait until the next show. We can do it like this again, you know. Hey, Boneless Rocker, question. Hey, KJ, do you drink yerba mate where you were at? Yes, I do. And yerba mate is a drink. That's how I pronounce it. I've heard it pronounced different ways, but that's a drink I've loved for years. I had to go to the hippie stores back in Oklahoma to find it. And out here, man, it's amazing. I'm literally getting stuff that's in packaging from Guatemala. This is Guatemalan yerba mate, and it is amazing. If you guys don't know what it is, it's a great alternative to coffee. It's way better than coffee. In fact, a lot of the people that in the countries where it's from, a lot of these Central American countries, maybe South American, I think it's kind of mixed in throughout these because it's popular all around here too. I know it's in South America as well. But a lot of the people out there, the workers, would actually drink this to stay full. It actually kind of gives you a full filling. You're not hungry, speeds up your metabolism. It's just amazing. It's a different high, if you will, than caffeine, than just coffee. You know, it's just a good feeling, an overall good body buzz and good feeling. And I love yerba mate. So yeah, it's funny you knew about that, man. Yep, I was really lucky to find it out here at one of the stores pretty close to my house. It's like, yes, they got yerba. I wasn't even looking for it, man. I figured I had no chance of getting it out here, and sure enough, here it is. You know? Oh, let's see here. Scrolling on down a bit. Ladder Rain. Hey, Ladder Rain. Always good to see you. She says, hey, do you know about the Keshe Foundation and the free energy and peace agreements around the world? No, but that's one of those things that I bookmarked yesterday. The Keshe, K-E-S-H-E Foundation and their free energy and peace agreements around the world. Thank you for mentioning it, though, Ladder Rain. That's one I'm looking up. I may do a video on if I find things that I feel like I need to, you know. But it's one of those pieces I put to the side I knew I wanted to look at more. So thanks for asking. I don't know much about it yet, but we'll address it next week. And if you can remember, once the show's downloaded, just in case, if you can bring that up again, just so don't forget the Keshe Foundation, if you don't mind, I'll probably remember, but just in case, because I feel like that's an important one. If you guys don't know what it is, look it up. Keshe Foundation and their free energy and peace agreements around the world. Okay. All right, still scrolling down. Still scrolling down. Trying to catch up on everybody. There's something else I can talk about. Actually, I totally forgot to mention this. There's something else I can tell you about Panama that has nothing to do with what I was just telling you. It's something different. Oh, hey, Stephanie writes. She says, does KJ have other YT channels besides this one and KJ? No, unfortunately. Well, fortunately, it's hard to run two. My KG channel, thank you guys. It's pretty popular. It's growing. I don't put up as much as I used to there, but I'm changing that pretty soon because there's several videos I need to finish that I want to put up there. Those are my only two, but I'm going to have a website done soon. And I mentioned earlier in the show, if you missed this, YouTube blocked 2 more of my videos worldwide recently. So I'm going to have a website up soon where I'm going to have all my band videos up there and everything else. And I'm going to have a chat room for you guys, a forum for us to post links, and I'll be doing my radio show where I interview you guys. So I think it's going to be cool. But you're going to have to call. You're going to have to call. That's the thing. That's the catch. All right, still scrolling down here. Interesting. Mia Montero says, I met Madonna, very bad vibes. Couldn't wait to get out of that place. Interesting. All right, still scrolling down. Angela Cotright-Kalo says, KJ, question. Much like the owls, I've been seeing the pineapple lately in fashion. Is there a symbolic meaning? Yes, this pineapple, it goes back to, depending on the reference, but it's I could see it used as the third eye or the pituitary gland. You'll see a lot of that in the Vatican as well, the pineapple or the pine cone. And that's the connection there with the pituitary. And a lot of people have done videos on that. I've covered it. I've shown you examples in videos, but never done a full video just on that symbolism. But that's where that goes. because to some people in the occult, all these battles take place in the third eye. You know, that's kind of a part of that. Let's see, we got Michael Jones. Hey, KJ, how do you think Bigfoot is going to play into this all? In my opinion, I think they are going to do some stuff after a natural disaster and we get saved from fallen angels. We'll see, man. I don't know how Bigfoot's going to play into it all. It's interesting, but there's a lot of stuff with Bigfoot that's interesting. A lot of stuff that's goofy and dumb, but I'm from Oklahoma, and there's a lot of stories of the Bigfoots or the skunk apes out there in the Arbuckle Wilderness. That's in Oklahoma. It's northeast. Yeah, northeast. So they've had a lot of sightings of them out there. Around a lot of Indian areas too, Indian burial grounds, Indian tribes. And they have their own stories on Bigfoot and what they think it is. Basically an interdimensional type being, a lot of them believe. Scrolling on down here. Hi, Joe. This is Joe Best. Joe Best says, question KJ, do you know Freeman Fly? No, I do not. I don't know Freeman Fly. I'd like to. I mean, I lived in Austin for a while. Never saw him, never met him or anything, but I lived in Austin for a few years. Even worked in a coffee shop there for a bit. Most of my time there, I was a bounty hunter with Texas Bounty Hunters. It was the name of the company at the time. They'd changed names from two others by the end, by the time I left. But no, I never met Freeman or knew him. He actually sent me a message on my KJ channel way back asking if I would like to be on a show with him, like be interviewed. And I don't remember what the deal was. I couldn't get back to him then. I just said, hey, I'll get back to you soon, but thanks for asking. It's an honor. I like you, and I think that'd be interesting. And I never heard back. So I may have missed, if he ever sent a message back, I missed it. Or maybe he just didn't send one back. I don't know. Maybe he said, okay, let's check this guy out, and saw some videos and says, this guy's an idiot. I don't want him on the show. I don't know, you know. I don't think that's the case, but yeah, I never heard back from him, so I'm not sure what the deal is, but yeah, I'm interested. I like Freeman Fly. He was one of the guys, he's been around for a long time. He's one of the guys I looked up to when I first woke up, like 8 years ago, around 8 years ago. I remember looking at Freeman Fly stuff, you know, around that time, or maybe around the first year or so, whenever he came around. All right, still scrolling down here. Hi, Real Sweet. Good to see you. It's always nice to see a lot of familiar folks here, a lot of my friends, a lot of new people showing up. Attil779 says, Art Bell, I heard, is controlled opposition. If you want to look up something on Art Bell, it's something I was going to read. I started researching way back for something, but just didn't find quite enough. But what you can find on him that's interesting is when he left the country and why. You can do some research into why Art Bell left the country, because there was some kind of pedophile thing happening back then. Now, you look it up for yourself, okay? But it's something to do with kids in Thailand or something. There's some accusations being thrown there. Something was supposed to come out. He was being, you know, blackmailed for something. Look up, now again, I'm just telling you what I remember. This has been several years since I looked this stuff up. There was something weird about Art Bell and him having to leave the country, and something to do with kids, maybe, or pedophilia. Look it up for yourself. I'm not saying it's legit. I'm not saying it's right. I haven't looked this stuff up in a long time, but I remember there was some stuff, and there were people talking about that several years ago. I just haven't looked it up in a long time. You can look that up if you want to find out more. And hey, if you find out something, let us know. You know. All right, scrolling on down. Wow, it's almost been 2 hours. I can't believe it. We made it. It's almost been 2 hours. I mean, I don't have to stop exactly 2 hours. We'll see here. All right, I'm going to go ahead and update the comments and see what we got here. Sometimes I miss your comments, like I said. Oh, yeah, that was interesting. Brooklyn Boy Productions, one of the newest comments. I just jumped ahead here, guys. Sorry. It says, speaking to pedos, have you heard of the Subway guy? Yeah. In fact, let me see if I can bring this up. There's something I just saw on him earlier today, and I clicked it so I could hold on to it because I thought I might want to look at it later. Yeah, I'll go ahead and read this to you. This is, I guess, breaking news. It came out about 3 or 4 hours ago. So apparently one of the franchisees, all right, one of the people that owns a Subway, you know how these restaurants and stuff work, these kind of fast foodish type restaurants. You can become a franchisee. You can own a franchise, right? pay a certain amount, you can run one, and then that's how you do it. Anyway, and this came out, this is in USA Today. It came out around 5 p.m., so it was a few hours ago. Franchisee says Subway execs knew about Jared Fogel's interest in children. I'll just read a little bit here. And we're talking about Jared Fogel, the Subway guy that apparently he's not even fighting it. I guess he's admitted it, that he's a pedo and is going to jail. I'm glad he got caught. Anyway, here's some of the story right here. It says a former franchisee claims executives in Subway's advertising unit knew about their famous spokesman's interest in sex with children going as far back as 2008. Cindy Mills, who ran a Subway restaurant franchise in Pensacola, Florida, said she started reaching out to Subway executives about Jared Fogel's interest in children after he spoke openly about it with her. In total, Mills talked to 3 executives with Subway's advertising unit known as the Subway Franchisee Advertising Fund Trust. She told Business Insider in an interview that included her lawyer. Fogel, who has been Subway's most recognized spokesman for 15 years, has admitted to child pornography and traveling to have sex with minors, according to prosecutors in Indiana, where Fogel lives. Fogel, famous for losing about 245 pounds on a diet of Subway sandwiches in college, is expected to plead guilty to the allegations at a later date. Subway has said it has to cut off all ties with its former pitchman, but Mills' allegations, which emerged Thursday, threatened to muddy the restaurant chain even worse. It says Subway is continuing its investigation regarding any potential concerns it may have received concerning former spokesperson Jared Fogel, Subway said in an emailed statement. The company will communicate further once the investigation is complete. Mills said that she met Fogel at a Subway event and had an affair with him, according to the reports. During that time, Fogel told her that he had had sex with prostitutes between the ages of 9 years old, and 16 years old in Thailand and the U.S., she said. He also asked her to set up a meeting for him with Mills' cousin, who was underage at the time. So Mills told Jeff Moody, head of the SFAFT, about Jared's disturbing behavior in a phone call. She said she also shared her concerns with 2 other executives at a Subway-sponsored NASCAR event. She said she did not go to the police because she was afraid of Jared's money and power. Mills declined a follow-up interview because she never intended the article that came out of her interview with whatever to focus on her conversations with Subway's executives, her lawyer said. Anyway, that's just some of that. You can keep, I mean, it's really not much more to read. You kind of get the gist of it. But yeah, looks like that's blowing up even more. And to a greater example, this is something I'm going to kind of piece together in another video as well, but it's really the idea of the death of our heroes. Not that he was a hero to you or to me, but he was a hero to obese people. I mean, I can't speak for the world, but America has a problem with obesity. And Jared gave a lot of people hope. It's the same thing with Bruce Jenner. What happened to Bruce Jenner? They turned him into a lady, right? But started off, he was an Olympic hero for a lot of really young boys, looked up to him as the all-American male. You know, he was a hero. Same thing with Bill Cosby, you know, for a lot of the black community and even a lot of the white community for that matter. A lot of people looked up to Bill Cosby. He was a hero, you know, and now they're destroying him, or they're destroying themselves. So at the same time, with all this crazy energy and the way the world is and the way things are working and light's growing and dark's growing, we're also seeing the death of these heroes. I think a lot of this stuff's kind of a psyop. You know, it's the destruction of your hero. There's even the whole thing. You can go back to Clinton getting busted with Monica Lewinsky. You know, the federal government and all the shadow groups, they could have kept this stuff under the rug, but they wanted this stuff public. And I think it was a like worldwide psyop once again to destroy somebody, or also destroy your idea, more importantly, of the presidency and things like this. You know, this is what your president does, drag him through the mud, get all the dirt out there. You know, I was no fan of Clinton, still not, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying that that's part of that psyop. You know, it's killing your heroes on a global scale. I think it's good in a spiritual sense, though, because it shows you not to trust any man or woman with all of your heart and all of your love and all of your attention. And you know what I mean? Don't do it, because they're going to let you down. You just got to trust in God, trust in Jesus. As far as I'm concerned, this is the way, and that's how we go, you know. Man, we've got a nice crew here tonight, guys. Thanks again for showing up. Hit 2 hours now. Hey, Casey, the stars just showed up. Good to see you, man. I'm about to go. Just because I got to. It's been a couple hours, man. It's been a good run, but I'm going to go back here and just try to see. I'm going to stick around a little bit longer here because there's a lot I missed. I'm going to try to catch up with a couple of you here, okay? Let me see. Just give me about 30 seconds. I'm going to go on mute for 1 second. Hold on. All right, guys, I'm just kind of scrolling down. Thanks for waiting. And I'm just going to try to see what I missed here. It's kind of, okay. There we go. Patrick White. Hi, KJ. He says, I checked out Gorilla 199 channel, and you're glad you did. Good. He's pretty good. And you're welcome for the recommendation. I'm really glad you checked it out. I like Gorilla 199. Like I said, you go back, he doesn't do as many videos now, but you go back to some of his older stuff and the gifts he has and the things he could reveal. It's really, really good. Really interesting stuff there. Let's see. Hey, Dr. Eric Shin. Good to see you, man. Good to see y'all. And I guess I'm probably going to shut her down here in just a little bit, guys. Yeah, I guess. Hi, just because. Says, I can't stand the ignorance in this chat, so not sticking around. Why? I'm sorry, you got to go. I don't see. That's the thing is, it's hard for me to keep up with everything going on. I'm usually just kind of looking for your questions. I know we get trolled from time to time, but maybe they're not all trolls. Maybe it's just people that have different, ideas. It just depends on how they're saying it, I guess. I blocked a fair amount of trolls from here, so we should be fairly good. But Scoville77 says, KJ, have you seen Pockets of the Future YouTube channel? Yes, I have. It's funny you asked. I just watched 2 of his videos today. I've said in the past, I've actually been unsubbing a lot more channels over this last year than subbing new ones, but that's one of the newest channels I subbed, and I really like him. I like Pockets of the Future. I like what he's doing. I like his gifts. I can see it. I understand it. I get it. And I think he's gifted, and I really like what he does. Guys, if you're not familiar with Pockets of the Future, I've shared some of his videos on my Google. I've also liked some, so I put them in my like folder on my main channel so you can see some. Yeah, check out Pockets of the Future. He's very awake, very aware, a good guy. I think he's definitely, I know he's one of God's kids, and he's got a lot to say about that. He's very enlightened. That's all I can say. He's very enlightened. Just check him out and see what you think. I like him. He's good. All right, guys. I guess I'm going to go ahead and start shutting her down, man. It's been a couple hours. I always enjoy doing this with you, but sometimes I can only go a couple hours and it's like, bye. I'm talking too much, I keep rambling. But hey, seriously, y'all, God bless you, man. God bless you, each and every one. I appreciate you. I appreciate you coming around. I appreciate you watching the videos, sharing. I appreciate you engaging and giving me ideas, on things to look into and giving me links and things like this. And as I said, I'm going to try something different from here on out. Before I do my next live show every week, I want to go back to the last one that was posted on the channel and see if there's any questions in there from you guys. If you have any questions, I'll kind of look through it and I'll have some answers for you, and we'll explore some of that in the next show. Just something new we're going to kind of try, okay? And other than that, that's it, man. I appreciate you guys, and I guess I can't, there we go. I couldn't see how to get out of it. Otherwise, I was going to have to keep saying, I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys. But I do. God bless you. Have a safe weekend. Take care, and I'll talk to you all real soon.